going on? I am Nando.
And I am DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Yeah, boy.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no, Diggins is sexy now. Or he's I don't know what Diggins is going for. If he's going for the girl one or the guy one. Keep going, Diggins.
Yeah, I gotta figure this out. This is like 20 questions or something. I don't know.
Diggins, how's your day going?
You know, it's fine. I guess it's fine.
I still don't know.
I think it's the girl one.
Sentences,
I think.
but I'm not convinced is the problem.
I think if it were the other one, Diggins would say, "I can't tell you how it's going. It's too dangerous. You can never know," or something like that.
I don't think it's say more words.
Yeah. I mean, words are cool. I guess.
Okay, it's the girl. It's the girl. Great. Congratulations. We figured
Oh my god, Diggins, what you're saying right there, I love it. It's my favorite thing I've ever heard on the podcast. Something about it, it's just so mesmerizing.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm glad I like it or something or whatever, I guess.
Marry me, Diggins. Marry me now.
I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
Forget Anna Kendrick. She's uninteresting and boring.
Yeah, I love that. Love that Anna Kendrick's in this. We're going to talk about a movie starring Anna Kendrick and some other losers.
This is the movie that made Anna Kendrick famous.
No, it's not.
It's the best thing. I mean, it has to be, right? What else was she?
Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect is the one that made her famous.
Well,
this is
the movie that made her like a big actor that could get a thing like Pitch Perfect. You know?
But this came out in 2008. I don't think Pitch Perfect was before that.
No, Pitch Perfect was after, but like she was like this isn't her like breakout role. This is a movie she was in, and then she was in Pitch Perfect, and that was her breakout role. There is no way you can convince it. No.
I don't know, because she was in that George Clooney movie in 2009, Up in the Air. I think she was kind of on the come up post Twilight. She was in Scott Pilgrim in 2010.
According to Wikipedia, she rose to prominence for her role in the Twilight saga.
Yeah,
Wikipedia, they're never wrong about anything.
I'm with Diggins on this one.
Well, I guess the fix is already in on the IMDb summary. I'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.
I mean, listen, if anything, maybe she was famous from her role in Viva Laughlin. Remember that show?
No.
It's like
Is
about
that the
Las Vegas.
adaptation of Blackpool?
I don't know what that is. Oh, yes, it is. I'm looking at its IMDb page right now. It is.
Blackpool, a British show that I actually watched and thought was okay.
A murder mystery musical series. That sounds fun. But yeah, this one is just like Las Vegas. I remember seeing some clips and being like, this is bad, but maybe it's good. Who knows?
No. The American adaptation of it is very bad, but the British show that it's based on is pretty good.
Anna Kendrick was in an episode on that. She played her character from the Sex Doll show.
All right, users. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Bring back Quibi. There was something else making a comeback. Movie Pass. Movie Pass is making a comeback.
It's back, baby. You're going to have to watch ads to scan your face or some shit.
Yeah, if you're willing to accept having every moment of your life scrutinized
I mean,
see if you're consuming ads or not.
Now, that's what happens in the real world anyway. At least now I get to see movies, you know? That's like, that's a step up from like the metaverse where it's just you get to go to meetings in space or whatever. So I can't hate it. But yeah, Anna Kendrick is in this movie. We'll get to Anna Kendrick. She is in it.
We'll totally get to Anna Kendrick.
Before that, though, we got to get to some other stuff. You guys, how Super Bowl was this weekend.
Oh, my God, it was.
How'd it go? Was the actual game, real quick, DJ, the only person that watched the game, was it good?
Okay, so here's the thing, my opinion about the game. It wasn't like a good or a great game, but it was interesting because it was always close. I would say really good first quarter until Odell Beckham got injured, then really rough second and third quarter, and then pretty great like last drive of the fourth quarter. So like it was never like, oh my God, what an amazing game. It was like there were amazing parts, but a lot of the game was a slog, especially after Odell went out and just the Bengals' inability to like move the ball at all. Remember when we did a sports podcast? That was so fun.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was Bernie and basketball.
Yeah.
We talked about basketball and Bernie Sanders.
Man.
Oh, we had
those are the days.
Oh, my God. I forgot that you guys used to do that.
It's a great show.
Then was it Any Given Thursday or Tuesday? The Bill Simmons HBO spinoff podcast.
That was great. There were only 3 pilot episodes of that produced, and they're all terrific.
Was that the one I came on once pretending to be Richard Nixon the whole time?
Yes,
you were Nixon. Frank was Sonic the Hedgehog, and DJ was, who were you, DJ?
I honestly can't remember. It was a sports thing, but I can't remember for the life of me. Oh God, we had some great podcast ideas back in the day. Boys.
It was great stuff. If only Any Given Wednesday had taken off, we could have ridden the coattails. But alas,
you guys remember Trumpcast?
Trumpcast was good. That was before he was important, so it was just kind of like, look at this silly guy. It was before we all knew everything about him.
Yeah.
So we could discover things like his stakes and go like, that's so weird. But then, everybody knew those things. So.
Oh boy.
We were pro. We were pro
oh my
Trump.
God.
No, we were not. It wasn't
you
called the
campaigned
Trumpcast.
so hard for him in 2020.
Yeah, we got to get this country back in line. It's PC gone mad, but it was called the Trump Date, which was a better title.
Oh, right, the
and
Trump
it was a
Date.
good title, and somebody else started using it, and we went, okay, it's gonna work.
And like random people started following us. Like, oh man, that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, sports. So you like
so
the
that
game,
was
DJ.
that was the Super Bowl, but I think the conversation around the Super Bowl was really about them hot ads. Am I right?
Yeah, finally ads. We've seen every year we wait for the good ads to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're like, give me ads, and they're like, no. And then the Super Bowl comes up, and it's like, all right, you waited so long for ads. And
good little boys and girls.
As a good consumer, there's nothing I love more than ads, so that I can know what products I will be consuming in the future.
I was gonna say the only thing I like more than ads is products. Content is right up there, but ads are even better.
Yeah, I would say, it's products number 1, ads number 2, content number 3. I think is
and
my
then maybe
hierarchy of needs.
I'm going to say engagement is number 4. That's important.
Oh, yes. Engagement is very important.
You have to engage with the content, but anyway, guys, ads. Real quick, let's make some Larry David jokes.
Okay. Larry David sucks. That's my joke.
Yeah, I don't know. There's part of me that I love Curb, right? So I constantly watch it, and I think of all life within Curb, conversations and oh yeah, that guy's parking bad, like in the Curb. Not like in the curb of the street, like on an episode of Curb where it's parking.
Because of his bad parking.
That's where it came from. Larry David was like, curbs, there's too many curbs in LA. It's I don't know where that did come from though. Where'd that title come from?
Like curb your enthusiasm? Well, that's a phrase to curb your enthusiasm.
Yeah, but it's not that big of a phrase, right? It's a weird phrase. It's probably like It's Always Sunny, where it was just written on a paper one day, and someone was like, "Oh, this should be the title," and then he went, "We'll do a better title later," and then they never did. But I do would like to see a version of Curb Your Enthusiasm season whatever, the next one, where he made a crypto commercial in the context of the show, and everyone berates him for it. That would be fun for me.
Like Larry, crypto's awful. What are you doing?
Larry, you dumb piece of shit. Nobody likes cryptocurrency, you bald fuck. That's what she would say.
It's burning down the rainforest, you idiot. What? I didn't know. I didn't know about crypto. I didn't know.
That's your Larry David impression. Oh my god, this is the worst one yet. This is unfathomable.
It's so bad that even Nando and I can't pretend that Larry David's here.
Yeah.
Oh no. This is like another weird Curb premise.
I feel like a lot of DJ's impressions go back to whatever that was. And I'm talking about obviously the ones that we do off air with each other, because it's the first time anyone's done an impression on the show.
Right.
But,
Yes.
Yeah. Who is that? What is that voice? Let's get to the bottom of that. Do your Larry David more. I want to figure out what that actually is.
Oh, wait, I fucking lost it. What? It's crypto. It's no problem. It's crypto.
It's kind of Christopher Walken, but not really,
Kinda. Yeah,
it's like Christopher Walken and Jerry Lewis mixed together.
It's like what do you call that? Oh God, I can't remember the thing that's not medicine, but some people think it is.
Ivermectin?
Crypto?
No. The one that's more like hippies than Fox News viewers.
Crystals.
Oh wow, Nando and I are the exact
right
same
track.
page.
It's the right track.
crystals. Dr. Oz, New Age medicine,
No,
Burning Man.
Hold on. No, I'm gonna get there.
Is this a person we're
Are
guessing?
you?
No, it's a technique.
Reiki. Is that what Reiki is?
No,
Ayahuasca?
No, I said a technique, not a object.
All right. Well, while you think
Homeopathy. It's the homeopathic Christopher Walken. That's what DJ's giving us.
I see. Yes.
Can I get a redo? Because I really think I can get this. Because I figured out the
Okay.
cadence. All right,
Larry
give
David.
me a redo. All right,
Yeah.
all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, did it nice.
I would say a little
wow.
bit lower in his voice. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty
Eh,
good.
what do you know? That's more John Mulaney, but I could do it if I was in the mood. I watch that show constantly. I bought all the whatever the fuck he was selling. I don't know.
So are you
Crypto dollars.
Are you not mad at him? Is that like the takeaway?
I'm mad at him, but I mean, I don't know. I can't stay mad at
But
him.
I was gonna say you'll never stay mad at him. You always forgive him in the end.
I think all of our celebrities are going to fall into the crypto thing, and then it's just... I mean, Keanu seems to be too cool for it, like
Good
him.
yes, exactly.
But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough with an older person, too, who, like how
he doesn't
much...
know, right? There's
Yeah.
no way he knows.
I don't think he does. I think he knows that it's something that people are buying, clearly, because they had Super Bowl ad money, but... I haven't seen him say anything about it since then.
I haven't actually seen the ad. So is it like the Matt Damon ad where it's like nobody ever says crypto when it could be about anything?
No, it's ooh.
I think he has to know it's about crypto at the end.
Yeah. The end is certainly about crypto. Yeah.
Assuming he was actually in the room with the guy that he's talking to, that's a crypto commercial. Yeah. But the beginning stuff is not. It's just Larry David as an old guy. What?
I was going to say, Diggins, are you suggesting Matt Damon was tricked?
I'm saying it's possible that he was. Because, I mean, maybe Matt Damon's just a huge believer in crypto, but you watch that commercial with Matt Damon in it. Nobody ever says crypto. Nobody even remotely talks about crypto. Right. The only thing that tells you that it's about crypto is that the logo comes up at the end. So he could have filmed that having no idea what it was for.
That's also true for the LeBron James commercial now that I think about it, because those were both the Crypto.com hits.
It's also true for that movie Stillwater that Matt Damon made kind of recently. It's like, did he even know what he was filming? Maybe not. Not The Last Duel, though. He knew. He knew what he was doing. That was a good movie.
I think the frustrating part with the Larry David ad was that it was actually a legitimately good ad, like the premise of it, but then it's like, oh my god, it's for crypto. I hate this so much. It's such a letdown. It's not like the ad was just like middling, and it's like, oh, it's crypto. It's like, oh my god, what a great, funny, clever ad. Oh god, it's for crypto.
Yeah, it's just Larry David, the man throughout all of history who rejects good ideas. And the wheel and forks and stuff. So you could make that about any product. The next thing that could be handed to him at the end of that commercial could be like the Doritos Loco Taco. And he'd be like, I don't really think it's a good idea. True. And then that's a good commercial. It's almost a funny ad. And it's funny seeing him in weird hats and stuff. Because he's, strange looking dude.
Did you hear the behind that commercial, the making of?
No, did they kill a bunch of people with helicopters?
I'm literally reading that New York Times article right now.
So yeah, it took place over 4 days, and there were crazy COVID protocols, crazy COVID protocols, and
all COVID protocols are crazy if you ask me. Am I right, fellas?
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
everyone's overreacting to this virus that kills thousands of people. Am I right?
It's 1984 all over again, It's it's that. I mean, it's not anymore because now they got rid of all the restrictions because the virus went away.
Nando, the other day I saw someone who was still wearing a mask. So actually, it's still exactly like 1984.
Oh my god, yeah, it's not good until all the people I cannot ignore it anymore. That's when it actually stops being a problem. If I don't have to do it, then that's fine. But it's really I want the power to make other people not do it. Yeah, exactly.
So that was the interesting part of the thing. But there were really very good safe COVID protocols. But the crazy thing was he had no voice by the end of this. He was totally spent, and he was asking can we please just have this go another day? Whatever we gotta do. I'll figure it out. And they're like, absolutely not. There's no way this can stretch another day because of whatever the COVID stuff that we've made sure to not die or whatever. And he was just incredibly spent by the end of the commercial. Like he had nothing left. Apparently it was like a grueling 4 days of filming. Because imagine all like the commercials and the wrangling. It just seemed like an insanely produced commercial. Not the LeBron one where he's de-aged talking to him current self in his old bedroom. Like they probably shot that in an afternoon.
Yeah, and then I mean the Larry David one. Yeah, I guess it has sets and stuff, so it is harder to do. But the way you're saying he has like no voice, I'm like, did he get COVID during it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the other thing too, right? Because like he was
not
probably
able to
coughing a
talk?
bunch. They were like, "Is everything okay,
Yeah.
Larry?" That would be another COVID premise. He's shooting a commercial and he like gets COVID and spreads it, but like denies it or whatever. Like that would be another like really good one.
On the show, what would happen is he would not have COVID. Something else would happen, and everyone would think he has COVID, and he'd be like, "What? I don't have COVID. It's not that." And they'd all be like, "Larry, you're disgusting. You've been not wearing your mask. I've seen it," or something. That would be what happens.
Have they done
Guys.
any COVID stuff on Curb at all?
Oh yeah, they did a bunch last season. It's great. It's so funny. They basically one character just turned out to be a COVID hoarder. And that was pretty good. They only did one episode, and then they kind of moved on from that. But
Okay.
yeah, so they'll probably do a crypto episode eventually, you know?
I mean, fortune favors the brave, Nando.
That's right.
You know what's dumb? Like, all these crypto commercials, I can't tell you, like, what was for what, right? Like, I don't know what was Coinbase versus Crypto.com versus, like, the other one. But, like, I don't know. I think there were a total of, like, 4. Like, it's crazy that we went from none to a lot, right? Like there were no crypto Super Bowl commercials last year, and now there's all of them. Like I can't figure out exactly what's going on, except that we're all super fucked.
Well, the fun thing about cryptocurrency is it's bad. So you can't, but you still want to advertise it so you get people to buy it. So you can't say anything about it in the commercial. So you just have to do the whole commercial and then at the end go like, whatever it is. What was his? Like FT Wallet or some shit like that. Just go like have a character go, FT Wallet. It's good. And then that's all you can say. But if you start saying like cryptocurrency is cool because, and then people's, eyes glaze over because they're like, oh, this. So they have to, by design, be the most generic commercials possible. Just advertise anything.
Right.
It's
Guys,
fascinating.
I would love to read you a sentence from this New York Times article that I've been reading.
Oh, yes, please.
I'll allow it.
Other crypto companies in their recent surge into marketing have also turned to top celebrities. But critics have warned that the star power fueling crypto's popularity can lure vulnerable investors, often young men, into risky bets in a market that has seen boom-bust swings and scams. As though that's not the whole fucking point.
Yeah, well, I mean,
God.
there's those young men. They love Larry David. They've big Seinfeld
like,
fans.
They're like, even this totally legitimate business is engaging in practices that might seem like it's predatory. Like, yeah, because it fucking is. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we worry that the wrong people will get their hands on this heroin, and then it will become a problem, But speaking of heroin, we'll get to it. We got some heroin in this movie.
That's true. Yeah,
there's a heroin line. I wrote it down. But
you're right.
Real quick, I do want to do a little prediction updates. We got 2 prediction revelations from the Super Bowl. First one, DJ, Lord of the Rings. You want to tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone saw, but another great Super Bowl ad, probably the best Super Bowl ad, was the first trailer we saw for the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power show coming to Amazon this fall. And I must say, this is a masterstroke, and you guys might as well give me the trophy right now as the best prediction of 2022, and probably for this decade that we're in. So, yeah, trophy, please.
It was a teaser trailer which mainly composed of various people in elf costumes looking at a camera and going like, so, let's not go crazy.
Might as well be a Game of Thrones scenes, but then with different, people I've never seen before.
And
at
also
one point there was someone climbing a wall.
Elrond.
Oh, is that Elrond?
Yeah, Elrond shows up at one point, fully yassified.
Now I'm involved. I like that. But it's not that Hugo Weaving, right? It's another actor.
Yeah, it's another guy.
Yeah.
I swear, if he comes back for that, but not Matrix. Well, I mean, that's a good movie, too, but this one is going to be bad, even though DJ said it would be good.
I mean, objectively speaking, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see what the issue is here. it seems like this movie's
I don't
perfect, and there's just nothing that
Amazon
can be wrong
Studios
with
has
it.
a perfect track record if you don't count the other time they made a fantasy series last year. Other than that, perfect
A
track
fantasy
record on this
series
kind of
based
stuff.
on a very popular book series.
Yeah.
I don't know what anyone is talking about. Everything's gonna be great. Like
I mean,
said,
it's
give
It's not
me
like
the trophy.
it's not like just this weekend I watched an Amazon original movie that I thought wasn't very good.
Oh, what?
I wonder which one that is. We'll talk about it later, maybe? Or will we?
I mean, I said I didn't think it's very good, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
rank it.
What is it?
I watched I Want You Back, that Jenny Slate and Charlie Day movie. Not very good.
Oh, is that any good? No. Yeah.
No.
Damn.
They
It's
had
very low energy, which is weird that you hire Charlie Day and Jenny Slate for that.
Yeah, that's true. But
That's weird.
and that guy from the show, the Good Place, right? He's in there.
Oh yeah,
Like sexy guy?
Manny Jacinto is
Love him.
the sexy, dangerous boyfriend that the one gets after dumping Charlie Day.
Oh, sexy.
Yeah.
Well, not really dangerous, more like artistic and creative.
That is dangerous in 1984 times. You know, it's like what's
true.
more dangerous
Well, he
than
went-
artists?
He wears a leather jacket, so you know he's like mysterious and cool.
Oh, it's cool as hell. I hope Jane Slate gets with that guy instead of Charlie Day, probably. But alas, probably not.
Oh, no
though.
spoilers! No spoilers.
Yeah. This show, the Amazon show, it doesn't look bad. It just looks nothing. I want a pitch. I want something. I want a main character.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm
Yeah.
withholding my judgment.
But that was there.
What was the other prediction?
The dwarf women don't have beards, so that's a big bummer. That's one thing I did here. It's the actual criticism. They should have beards, as they do in the comic or in the book. Other prediction is Doctor Strange. You're the multiverse, baby. I'm right,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, because this
my
movie's
God.
going to be cool. But also, all the multiverse bullshit about it is the part people seem to have latched onto. Professor X and Doctor Strange with different hair and stuff. It's all thanks to the multiverse. So
Oh, so
Yeah,
the
the
I don't know if we
incredible imagination of the multiverse, bringing us such wild concepts as a different film series we've already seen and an actor with different hair.
Okay, so hold on. We should
Yeah.
probably spoiler alert this just in case, some people don't want to be exposed.
Sure.
So
spoilers for the trailer of the movie, the first trailer even. The second one will probably have lots of spoilers, but this one has some. I mean, yeah.
let's just spoiler alert it. Just put that on the front end.
Spoiler alert. Doctor Strange dies in the first and he's replaced by the chameleon from Spider-Man.
So
It's all true.
It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, that Professor X is in this trailer.
It certainly seems like it. I can't imagine they would do that. I mean, they could, because that's what they did with fucking Ralph Boner. But they, unless they decide to pull the rug out from us in an insane way, that is probably Professor X. And that matches up with reports that it came out earlier about what the deal is with all those guys in chairs. So that's fun.
So, but Illuminati confirmed, right? That has to be what
Yeah.
that is.
I'd say that's probably what that is. Because it's also got Ultron robots and stuff, which
Yeah. Okay.
maybe would suggest some sort of, I don't know, Illuminati version of another hero we're sort of familiar with, played by an actor who, that'll be fun. But yeah, I don't know. The trailer looked cool. I liked it. It's got that. It feels like it's almost kind of actually maybe going to be a horror movie, kind of almost. You know.
Do we
little-
trust
little
Sam
bit of that.
Raimi?
Well, it is Sam Raimi.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just meant that horror is kind of his thing. I was
Yeah.
responding to that.
Okay.
And he did. You know, it seems like they're going all in on Wanda as bad guy now, so that's good. It's interesting.
Is it?
Maybe.
Is it?
I think it's I think it's an angle. I think it's something. I think she could be scary, or like the potential of that character being a bad guy is fun, versus like, I don't know, Nightmare or the Soul Eater or whatever the other guys that are in there probably.
Shumagora. Excuse me. Oh, Gargantos is what Disney's legal team just told me I have to call it.
Yep. Sleepwalker, that's in there too, probably the one that's sucking up Doctor Strange at the beginning of the trailer. So they got all the guys. All the villains are back, baby.
I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Elizabeth Olsen is going to sound like this or to sound like these?
Definitely the first one. They've
The
given
first
up
one.
on that accent.
We've heard her voice
Really?
in it, right?
But
I
was
think-
the thing in WandaVision was like, I do both voices depending on what
well,
mood
they just
I'm in.
they brought it up once to like make fun of it, but that was it.
I think,
Okay.
and they did the one bit where she comes outside of the thing and then throws the drone and is like, never to touch my vision again.
Yeah!
So I feel like if anything, maybe, and this didn't really happen in the show in the end, but if she like maybe goes full evil, the Scarlet Witch kind of personality can be designated by that voice, but I don't know. It's probably just going to be normal Elizabeth Olsen. And frankly, I think that's probably the better of the two options. Because that accent was bad. We didn't like it.
It was awful. Awful, terrible accent. Awful, terrible.
Well, hey, I loved it because it was bad.
Yeah, that's true. That part of it is great. I like Doctor Strange's hair. Do we like his hair in this one?
I don't
Very
hate
fun.
the hair, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Better than Professor X's hair, probably.
Hey, bald is beautiful, Nando.
Oh, that's true.
That is true.
That is true. Yeah, so Multiverse is really going to crush it this year. Great stuff. That comes out, what, May, maybe? Something
Yeah,
like that?
May.
Cool.
Did I ever...
The ant.
I think I messaged you that the next big D&D expansion coming out this year from Wizards of the Coast is a
yeah.
multiverse expansion.
I do remember that.
When
yeah.
that announcement happened, I'm like, how did he know? Like, it really does seem like everyone, even Dungeons and Dragons, is going all in on multiverse.
Well,
How could I
Dungeons
possibly
and
guess
Dragons has had a multiverse for decades. It's not like it's a new concept for them.
Well, the fact that they're centered, like, the multiverse is in the name of the new expansion coming out this year. Like, that's certainly a very unique 2022 thing.
I think there was something else, too, this week that was weirdly multiversey, but I don't remember what it was. Something about Godzilla, maybe? I don't know. There's some multiverses happening.
Yeah, there was... so this is a Japanese thing. There's like Ultraman, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, and one or two other properties, I think. They're all getting like Shin blank movies.
Right.
Most of them involving Hideaki Anno, the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I think that they're going to also do a crossover thing with those continuities at some point.
Gotcha.
The announcement was in Japanese, so I'm only going off of like translations I saw on Twitter. So, I could be completely wrong about all this, but I think that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah. So even if it's just marketing nonsense or something, the companies know you do a multiverse to connect all your disparate IPs, and that gets you the big bucks, baby.
Baby. Oh, before we go transition to whatever we might transition to, there was a third prediction thingy.
Oh, what's that?
We got a Jurassic World trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was like the day before, but it was...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then there was the trailer for that movie, Nope. But that wasn't in any predictions. But Jurassic World, yeah, that looked okay, maybe.
I don't know. I think I might be right with it's terrible. I think I might nail
definitely, it. I mean, listen, do we think they learned a lot of lessons from the last two that made a bunch of money? Absolutely not. So it's definitely going to be bad.
Yeah. And it has that guy. It's directed by the guy that made that movie, The Book of Henry, which is a fun movie.
Colin Trevorrow. Really? They brought him back?
I do believe he is on this one. And
he did the first Jurassic World.
Yeah. And then he took a break to...
Not the Free the Dinosaurs Jurassic World, which was the bananaist ending ever.
Well, yeah, because wasn't he supposed to do a Star Wars movie and then they fired him or something?
I didn't know that was...
He was supposed to do the third one, but then he was removed from it shortly after the release of Book of Henry.
So, yeah, Jurassic World Dominion is directed by Colin Trevorrow, so maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I mean...
Very much doubt it.
So far, he's only directed a couple things I've seen, and I'm not too keen on either of them. But hey, he
did the classic kind of indie director path, which is that he made one really good indie movie that a lot of people liked. That crucially, I'm seeing here, he did not write. And then was immediately given the keys to a big franchise, which he did a very bad job with.
You hate to see it.
And that's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is it's a tough one, because this movie is probably not going to be that great because of the two movies before it and how much the leads are boring. But this movie is bringing back the old guys, so that's fun. That's usually what happens in movies now.
Yeah.
In the third one, at least.
They already did that with the second one. They brought back Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, but just to sit down in Senate and go, Jurassic World of... What did he say? Did he say this will be a Jurassic World or something like that?
I forget. It was just for the trailer. Whatever thing he did was purely for the trailer.
Yeah. How great would it be if they all get eaten in this movie?
It just ends with them dying? That would be amazing.
Begins. Like, they all just get, they're like, you guys want to go back to Jurassic Park? And they'll be like, fuck, why not? We all have at least once, right? All three of us? No, not you, Laura Dern. Well, the other two. And then they go and they just get eaten. And then it's
yeah, that would be the best shit ever.
That'd be pretty dope. And then Chris Pratt's like, good, more time for me to lumber around, snare or snarl. And
drink refreshing Coca-Colas with the label strategically turned to the audience.
Yeah.
It's a me, Mario.
Yeah.
No,
it's a me, Garfield.
DJ. He's going to talk like a normal person. It's going to be, it's me, Mario.
Yeah. Now, it's going to be, God. It will 100% be, it's me, Mario. You know, that will be how they write it in the bad movie. But what if that movie's good, you know? Then maybe it'll be good.
Absolutely
That's
not.
supposedly
like
coming out this year. Supposedly.
Yeah. So, your prediction was this movie will bomb, DJ, Jurassic World Dominion?
Biggest bomb of 22, yeah.
That's not good looking then, because this probably won't, I don't think this will bomb. It might stink, but...
Well, it was biggest failure. It's not a box office metric. It's it's an all-encompassing...
It's loose.
Sure.
It can mean a lot of things.
Yeah. I honestly, I think it looks okay. I think this looks... Yeah, the idea of like the dinosaurs being in the middle of the street and stuff, and like in the city, because that was most of the trailer, as a movie separate from, you know, Duke Thunderguns and the rest of the crew, potentially cool. But they'll show up, and then it won't be as cool.
Well, we shall see, right? We shall see.
Speaking of predictions, there's actually another prediction that kind of was not really pushed forward that much, but there was a Moon Knight trailer, still looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I think that's going to be my big hit, and I'm feeling okay about it so far.
Yeah. If we've learned anything from recent events, it's that Disney shows are always good.
Yep. That's a true thing. That's true. It's true. What if the whole show is just Moon Knight walking around? I want a Moon Knight with respect.
No. It's Moon Knight
and then
walking
an episode
around
of
for
The
a few
Mandalorian.
episodes. I was going to say Hawkeye, but yeah, it'd be even funnier if it was just The Mandalorian.
And you never did another season of Mandalorian. You just it's like the Build-A-Figure of these shows now. You have to watch all of them to get the season of Mandalorian.
Oh my God.
That's genius.
That sounds disturbingly plausible as a thing Disney would do. Everyone likes The Mandalorian the most, so what if to watch The Mandalorian, they had to watch the rest of our shows?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. That's going to be cool. I mean, listen, I can't be worse than the Boba Fett show. This Moon Knight thing will probably be at least fine. Speaking of Hawkeye, did you hear he's renovating cars or something on a show called Renovations? We haven't talked about this yet.
Incredible.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, if only there was some kind of app that could fill me in on all the Jeremy Renner news so that I would have known about this.
It would have been 5 years old a couple of days ago, too. It was the Reniversary. Oh, what a world. NFTs and no Renner app. No, thank you.
Right?
I want the
Who
opposite. Can you imagine? Oh, we're going to get some good Jeremy Renner NFTs. So
what if that LeBron commercial was young LeBron being like, oh, that's crazy. What about the Jeremy Renner rap? Is that still going on? Future LeBron's got to be like, oh, I'm sorry, man. You know, we were all pulling for it. But it just didn't have legs. And past LeBron's like, what? It's all bullshit then? Fuck the future.
And he just, oh my god, I love it. I love that app.
I don't want to live in a world where there's no Jeremy Renner app.
Yeah, it just jumps out of a window and then LeBron James fades away. Pretty good. He can jump high too because he's a good basketball player.
I know, so, right? Yeah, and tall, which is more important.
That is way more important. You guys. This week, speaking of people that can jump real high, we're talking about one of the jumpiest guys in all of cinema.
Oh, he jumps so well.
He does some big jumps.
Some real 8-foot vertical leaps.
Yeah, we are talking about whatever Twilight, 2008's Twilight, the first one, which is just called Twilight, but I think the rest of them were like Twilight : New Moon and Twilight : whatever.
The Twilight Saga : New Moon or Eclipse or what have you.
Breaking Dawn.
Pretty good stuff.
Which Eclipse is the only one that doesn't make sense, right? Twilight, got it. New Moon, sure. Eclipse, what? But then Breaking Dawn. So Stephanie Meyer could have figured that out better.
Eclipse is interesting. I guess Eclipse is like kind of... I don't know what the order they're in. Which one's second?
It's Twilight, New Moon, then Eclipse, then Breaking Dawn. So it's in like the order of the sun/moon cycle, except for Eclipse is just kind of in there.
New Moon is kind of a moon cycle thing specific. Like, it's not like it happens...
I mean... When you think about it,
every night.
A new moon is an eclipse, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true too.
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about it, DJ, and I don't know how much you know about these movies, but like an eclipse is when the moon blocks out the sun and makes darkness. So like that's kind of like vampire stuff mixed with werewolf stuff. Although a new moon would be that too, because it would still be darkness because it's night. But yeah.
I'm such an idiot. Ugh.
Breaking Dawn is the one where I believe she has a baby.
It is.
So there you go. We're going to talk about Twilight 1. And this is because of Robert Pattinson, mostly.
Pattinson, Nando.
Pattinson. Robert Pattinson. And I'm kind of curious, honestly. I've heard a lot about this franchise, never seen the movie, so...
And, you know, some people, according to some people, when Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson started dating... Well, for a little while during / after these movies, that he should have dumped her like a dog.
Yeah, I love that. He should go hang out at the Miss Universe pageant with all the cool guys.
Well, not Robert Pattinson, but this character would probably love that.
That's true. I don't know. Would Bella be there? Otherwise, I don't think he's really interested. But maybe. I don't know. Speaking of this character, you guys, this character being me, like... You know, characters welcome. I am in control of the IMDb summary.
Boo.
Yay!
IMDb, B as in spelling bee.
B as in spelling bee. That's correct. You guys, I've got it in front of me right now.
Oh God!
I will say, like, it's not a bad summary. It's honestly, it's pretty good. Like, I think it.
Stop saying words. No. Stop saying words.
Does a good job of describing the movie. So you know,
this is unprecedented.
This is collusion.
I want you guys to go for it. Just like
TJ, you're hearing the same words I am.
Yeah, but you're smarter than I am. You can piece things together better than I am. I don't have a good brain.
I'm just saying this is a good summary of the movie as opposed to one that's bad. So
I am.
Play it straight.
I want to recount already.
Okay, well, DJ, you get to decide who goes first. So it's up to you.
I'll go. Okay. Actually, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to make Diggins go first. And I'll put you in an impossible decision where you have to pick me. Because I will have added all of the correct information. So, Galaxy Brain, Diggins is going to go first.
If Diggins does it perfectly, then whatever you add will be wrong.
I can make it more perfect. I can make it more perfect.
Like our union.
Yep. The more perfect union.
Okay, right. So then I guess Diggins, you're going first. So go for it.
I'm going to go for it. Okay. After moving back in with her father to Forks, Washington? I think it's Washington.
It's Washington.
We're moving back in with her father to Forks, Washington. Bella Swan is drawn in by the mysterious but beautiful or handsome, mysterious but handsome Edward Cullen and learns his dark secret that he and his family are all vampires.
Okay. DJ?
Okay. New high school student Bella Swan falls in love with Edward Cullen, whom she soon finds out has a terrible secret that he and his family are vampires. She must work together with the Cullens to defeat a dangerous threat terrorizing her hometown.
Okay. This is tricky. This is really tricky.
Damn it!
Here's what happened. Diggins got a bunch of good details there. DJ had a string in the middle where I was like, this is pretty much it. But neither of you got quite the cadence of it, and DJ had way too much information.
No!
I'm going to a tiebreaker here.
This is nonsense. This is just utter nonsense.
If you prefer DJ, you can just lose outright.
You know what? I will. I lose outright. I don't know. No. I'm not that petty.
Well, I'm going to find some great stuff here, and then that is going to be
It's really good that we don't have any set tiebreakers, and it's all just bullshit we make up on the spot. It makes when it comes up very easy for everybody involved.
I would like to protest that if I got it like perfect, why am I, just not declared the winner?
You didn't get it perfect.
You said the string in the middle was perfect.
Yeah,
I added some stuff, but the teacher shouldn't fail the student because I just added some stuff, right?
Well, but also Diggins had some details before that were also good. So there were a lot of things there that it's a tricky one. That's all I got.
Guess, DJ, it's probably because you didn't mention Forks Washington or her dad, both of which I did.
That's not.
I'm gonna practice whatever it is.
I will say okay.
What if we do a Twilight trivia off? What, I think it's the most fair way to.
I think we'll both lose very quickly because I don't know about you, but I don't know goddamn shit about this series.
So I learned that my wife is a huge Twilight head. I had no idea. So I had never seen the movie at all. And
DJ, could you correct that sentence, please?
Yeah, fix that sentence.
Sorry. So turns out my wife is a huge Twilight head. So she read all the books a bunch, knows all the movie lore. So she was catching me up on some banana stuff that happens later, which I'm very excited about. So I actually think in a Twilight trivia off, I could at least beat you. I feel pretty confident.
Again, I know very little, so almost certainly.
Okay. Well, it's less exciting, I guess. But yeah, I learned a lot about my wife by watching this movie. So thank you, gentlemen. My wife and I grew closer via this experience. So my wife and I grew closer via this experience.
Was she like, I married you because you remind me so much of Edward?
Yeah, exactly that. You look just like him. You could be Batman if you wanted to.
All right, here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I've got a number here that I want you guys to guess at.
What's the number? Is it just a number?
No. They're all just numbers, really, when you think about it. But I'm going to ask how much, and this is my tiebreaker. It's a bullshit one, but I'm going with it. How much money did the dress Bella wears in the prom scene cost? This is on the IMDb trivia page, so I'm just kind of looking for something that we could guess.
Is it closest without going over?
No.
What? Ugh. All right, well,
sure. Closest without going over. We'll do that.
Diggins gets to go first.
Okay. It doesn't look that great. It's a fine dress. But, it's it looks like a prom dress, which is what it's supposed to look like. It's good costuming. However, the fact that this is a tidbit at all means it probably costs some absurd amount of money. So I'm going to go with $360,000.
Okay. DJ?
I will go with $360,001, Drew.
You're both over. Try again.
What's next?
Okay.
You just keep guessing.
$150,000.
$150,001, Drew.
You're both over.
Okay.
$6,000.
$6,001, Drew.
You're both over.
Oh, maybe I was right the first time when I said that it doesn't look that impressive.
This is a funnier outcome than whatever the game is.
It's going to be tough, right? Because you're just going to keep whittling it down until either Diggins guesses exactly the right number or DJ puts one on it.
I think DJ should lose for poor sportsmanship at this point, or he should have to go first.
That's not a rule.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it with the not going over thing. The going over thing is gone.
Dang it.
So you both get to guess, and then whoever is closer wins. Which basically means Diggins will put a number out, and DJ will kind of do an over or under thing.
And DJ will put $1 less or $1 over.
At least then you'll have to make a choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with $500.
$499.
All right, we're going to do another round.
What?
Different thing.
What the hell?
Oh, no.
What was
okay.
it? What
DJ
was
won.
it?
DJ won. $20. It was a $20 dress.
I will accept a new game
I should have realized
for
at this
cheating.
point that it must have been a very small number
Yeah.
because that is the other way it would be notable.
Mm-hmm. How about this? This is not DJ. You won, but
know
this
what?
was my other game.
No. We can play a real one. My colluding doesn't have to be the reason why I won.
All right. Well, here's the question then: how many times, or not how many times? Sorry, that's a different one. How many Razzies was this movie nominated for? It's another trivia
this is a
fact
great
here.
question.
Yep.
This is a great question.
And I don't know in every year. I want to say, looking at the Razzie Awards this year, there's usually like, I don't know, 10. So
Yeah, but they play fast and loose. You can get multiple nominations
yeah,
in
it
category.
depends on how many movies Bruce Willis made that year. They like to add and subtract at least one category. Yeah. So DJ or Diggins, you can go first. It doesn't matter because whoever's closest, I'll just do whoever's closest again.
Right, sure. I'm going to say 7.
DJ?
This is really tough. What kills me is I don't know how many Razzie categories there are. Can I get that? Like how many Razzie
Nando,
categories there are?
literally
I don't have
said
that
it in the lead
information.
up.
I just said there's usually about 10.
Oh, my bad.
That's kind of my
But
guess
also,
from looking at
they-
previous
they-
Razzies and stuff.
Not infrequently do multiple nominations for a movie in a single category, so...
That's true too. That is true.
All right. Well, I hate to be a dick, but I'm doing it. I'm going to say 8.
Diggins wins. It's the only film in
No!
Twilight franchise not to be nominated for a Razzie Award.
Oh, no, that's a bullshit
Wow.
question. No. Hold on.
I think that's an interesting question.
Nope. Listen. I will leave this podcast, and I don't mean just now.
Look,
I mean
DJ,
forever.
you can still win for the dress thing, but you have
No,
to take the
no,
L
no.
on
No,
this question.
No. Listen here. Listen here. I can't believe this has happened. That Diggins is not closer by saying 7 and it being 0.
DJ,
zero is
in
not-
what way?
no.
Wait, hold on. In what way is 7 not closer to 0 than 8? And in what way is it different than 499 being closer to 20 than 500?
In the way that, the answer is nothing, right? There's no Razzies, right? Nando asked a trick question. This is nonsense. I want a real question, Nando. This is it. Golden ball for the win. Look, if I'm wrong, I will pick up my bag and I will go home. But I will not accept being asked a trick question for the finale. I do not accept it, sir.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Am I throwing a tantrum right now? Absolutely. But you know what?
DJ, I feel like you're throwing away all the goodwill that the fans had for you to win this one. They're gonna be
it's true.
like the posts on this one are gonna be like, I want a DJ to win, but not like this.
How about this? Here's a question. All right. And this is just like a question. Like,
Good.
this
good.
is
I just
not like this is just a question. This has to do with the movie. This is from the Goofs page. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. I love a goof.
In the book, I'm going to read you the thing and then you'll tell me what the rest is. In the book, it is clearly said that the Cullens never touch the food on their plates. The only time they do eat is when Bella asks Edward if he can eat food and he takes a bite of pizza. Even so, in the movie, which vampire does eat in the background of a scene?
I will guess Jasper.
Which one's that?
The youngest
Creepazoid.
one. The newest, the new. I guess it's not right because it would have said Jasper. So I assume it's not right.
Maybe not. You know,
All
never
right,
know.
Diggins, this is it for the win.
The question is, do I remember the names of the other Cullens?
Ooh, that should have been the
like-
game. Name as many Cullens as you can till you can't no more. That should have been the game.
That's a tricky game. We'd be here
No,
all
it's
day.
not. No,
you guys
it's
know
not.
all the Cullens.
Well,
I
it
know
can't be
more
the
than
game now
Diggins.
because I'm looking up their names so that I can answer this question.
that does seem like a fun game, though. Just name Cullens.
Yeah. I'm gonna go
I should have
with
suggested it earlier.
Emmett. Emmett is eating in the background.
Diggins is correct. Emmett is
Yeah.
eating in the background.
No,
It's in the background of the high school cafeteria. Apparently, the actor would
I
not
knew
stop
it.
eating, and they were just like, "Stop eating! They're not supposed to eat." And he forgot and kept doing it.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's fun.
I know I said I would take my bag and go home, so I will. Congratulations,
All right.
Diggins. Is this
Been
the
real.
biggest losing streak that any one of us has ever had in the podcast? I'm on my 3rd or 4th straight loss.
I mean, you lost like 2 games in a row in one day, so that's pretty bad. That almost never happens. Yeah. I was gonna ask. I don't know what other questions I was gonna ask.
doesn't
there were some
matter.
fun ones though.
Can you
I
read
would
the
love
summary
to-
so I can get really
Oh
mad?
yeah. Oh yeah.
I would
This
love
will
to
be
hear
fun.
that summary.
I'm sure both of you have forgotten what you both said, but here's what it is. When Bella Swan moves to a small town in the Pacific Northwest, she falls in love with Edward Cullen, a mysterious classmate who reveals himself to be a 108-year-old vampire. So here's how it went down.
I nailed it.
Dickens had the
freaking nailed
beginning when Bella Swan moves to a small town. You didn't get the Pacific Northwest. You had the states. You had the city and the state. DJ got she falls in love with Edward Cullen. That sentence, and it was very good. But then Dickens called him mysterious, which I liked. You both called him a vampire. But then DJ added a bunch of extra bullshit about like characters that are barely in the movie. And that was where I was like, oh, it was close. But then, you added too much. We even said before, like, you can do too much, you know?
That wasn't
add too many
specific
things.
Warning before you said your stuff, DJ, that you could do too much.
Yeah.
This is beyond upsetting. I don't know what beyond upsetting is, but I'm that. Whatever beyond upsetting is.
Well, I mean, much like the vampires in this movie, one of us lost and one of us won. Like a baseball game.
Yeah,
you know?
that's just
somebody was
that's
safe
true.
and somebody was out. Remember when they did that?
Wait.
I looked that up that was another goof. Apparently they did the wrong sign for safe, or out or whatever it was. They did the opposite.
That's fantastic.
But that's just because vampire baseball, I guess, maybe is played differently. You know, maybe they have different signs.
It's different hand signs, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? So Diggins, you get to go first. What did you think of Twilight 1?
So, people of a certain age, which is to say people of around our age, who were in high school around when Twilight was coming out, may remember the huge Twilight craze that shook the nation. And in response, the huge Twilight backlash that also shook the nation, where it was like a major thing amongst people I know that either you read Twilight and loved it, or you thought Twilight was the dumbest shit imaginable and hated it. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't act like I was in camp too and made fun of it a lot, because I did. But I had no real opinion on it. I never read it or engaged with it in any way. I've never seen this movie before. And now I have seen this movie, and it's weird. It's very weird. And it feels like a 2-hour-long AMV that someone made for like a Muse song.
Yeah.
Including the lighting, which is like weird and washed out, and it's just it kind of works for what they're going for, but it still feels odd. The sheer gap in this movie between the way a main character talks and the way that other people talk like real human beings is just bizarre. It's like Bella and Edward stepped out of a Victorian romance novel, and everyone else is just like at least some approximation of a real person. I don't know. It's not very good. The plot doesn't even... I mean, there's basically 2 movies in here. The first hour and 15 minutes are the story of them, like, getting together. And then the last 45 minutes is this weird vampire hunting story that has nothing to do with anything. So that's weird. And the characters are bizarre. And you can kind of see how it's this weird, like, Christian purity thing. Which is just unusual. I don't know. It's a very weird movie, but honestly, if I'm being totally honest, it wasn't as out and out bad as I thought it would be. It's like an okay movie on a technical term, but it's a weird story that I didn't really like. So, I wouldn't say watch it. I hear that the later movies get weirder and crazier, so those might be fun, but I don't know. It's just an okay made movie with a really weird and kind of bad story, and a couple of really great actors who go on to be some of the best actors working today, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. Just given bizarre choices that they got to roll with. So, I don't know. It's interesting, but what does it do for the greater good? That's my summary.
Exactly.
Good question. And
now, DJ, I guess you
answer.
get to go now.
I guess. I think my thoughts pretty much mirror yours, Diggins. Like I said, I watched this with Michelle, and I learned that she's just like really was really into Twilight, because as you mentioned, Diggins, she's like of that age where when the books came out and the movies came out, it was like, oh, this teen fantasy stuff is like great or whatever. I asked, like, is the book better than this movie? And she's like, it's about the same. She had said that the books are slightly better because you hear Bella's internal monologue, and because this one is just Kristen Stewart's face, it's like a bit lesser for that. But I agree, like, technically it's not like a bananas movie. From what Michelle was telling me, for like, if we choose to go on this journey of doing the other movies, which I think we should, we are in for some rough stuff. So, yeah, I'm like pretty excited if we opt to do the other movies. But here, like, I just don't think there's much here. It's not horrifically bad enough to be like, oh my God, can you believe they made this? But on the other hand, there's nothing really to write home about. Like, if you're like, I don't know, teenage son or daughter is like really into those teen romances, then, like, maybe you'd want to watch it with them, I guess. It is a very
chaste one of those, so you probably could watch it with your kid.
Right? You totally could. But like, it's just like weird that, like, you're right, Diggins, the movie's like really compartmentalized into two parts of like love story, but also, yeah, like vampire hunter movie. And it just seems to be like, maybe the book had more of like a strung together narrative, but to make your 2-hour like blockbuster feature, it's like, here's like what you're gonna get. And it's very disjointed. But yeah, so I very similar thoughts to Diggins. I'm really looking forward to the other ones. From what I understand, are just like batshit crazy, vampire batshit crazy.
I was gonna say batshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they all take shits in the movie? They're just did
like,
over
drop
the werewolves.
and just fart.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I was gonna do pretty much the same run up as Diggins, where it's like, listen, we all know this was weird, and when it happened as like kids, we were all like, the Twilight mania was difficult to navigate, and especially as a young boy, I've kind of found myself on the outside and been like, oh man, this thing's stupid. And part of that has to do with how we treat media for young girls and stuff, as opposed to like Iron Man and stuff for young boys. But I'd never seen it. I've heard people talk about it. I've talked with people about it quite a few times because I think it's interesting, but I'd never want to watch it. And having seen it, I think it's almost as bad as I imagined it would be. And specifically, I think it is like, it's not a bad movie. Like all the things you guys were saying, cinematography and like direction, acting, all that stuff. The content of it is horrible. Like, I could not imagine a worse movie to show a young child and be like, look at this romance throughout the ages. It is fucking disgusting. Like, we would never let this come out today.
That feels aggressive.
He's a fucking 100-year-old man and she's 17 and he's in her bedroom at night. Like, I really was like, I think we were kind of right. Like, we were wrong to be like, oh, girls are stupid for liking this. But this movie is weird as fuck. And I feel like it is, I kind of thought maybe I, in my head, kind of worked it up before I'd seen it and been like, yeah, it is pretty, but it's probably a little bit tamer than that. But it is not. Like, he is the worst boyfriend in any movie I've ever seen. Wow. And I've seen 50 Shades of Grey. I think this one's worse. Like, in terms of the stalking and shit.
I was going to say, just because he stalks her and isolates her from her friends and family and is like pushing her away and telling her how bad he is so that he has an excuse later if he mistreats her. Just because he does all of that, you think he might be an abuser?
That's fair. To be fair to good old boy Edward Cullen, he does tell her that he may hurt her at some point, like he's like, I love you so much, but I also may do something terrible to you, and you make me want to do that, and I hate it. Like, it's fucking insane. Why is this a movie people are allowed to watch? Like, not like allowed to watch, but like, why is this for kids? It's so weird. It's bad stuff.
I don't know a lot about what happens later, but from what I do understand is if you're thinking Edward is like a bad abusive partner now, that's only going to get much worse.
Yeah, so like, it's tricky. I do know some of the big beats. I also think this movie has a lot of like, I think this series as a series has a lot of destiny in it and stuff, and this one doesn't have quite as much. There's a little bit of like, oh, she's the perfect love for him, because he can't read her mind. But the rest of it, I think maybe that almost makes it a little less like creepy, kind of, as this like he is drawn to her by the fundamental forces of vampire universe and they're supposed to be in love. Like, it's still weird. But when you just take it as this, where it's like he is this weird loner kid who hyperfixates on this new girl, and I mean all the other things I'd heard about it, about like the fact that this Bella is written super broadly and everybody loves her. Like, I was actually kind of shocked at how much that was also true here. Like, watching the movie, I was like, man, they really do go out of their way to have everybody be like, oh, Bella, you're so cool. Do you want to be my best friend and sit with me at lunch and go to prom with me? And like, she has no traits whatsoever. But like,
she's the main character, though. Like, that's not like
I've never seen.
That's not like unforgivable.
It's
like,
not, it's not unforgivable.
I will
but
say,
it is strange. I would say it's a little weird.
I will say I was expecting, because I didn't know that specific thing about Twilight, and so I was expecting it more to follow the general conventions of this sort of like YA romance fiction thing, where it's more like she is sort of an outcast and like, you know, she moves to this new town, she doesn't know people don't like her, she has this bad relationship with her dad, you know, and but then she meets this boy and he's like makes everything better or whatever. And so she gets drawn into his world because he's like this good thing in her life. But yeah, you're right, Nando. Like, everything in her life is kind of fine. Like, yeah, she hasn't seen her dad in a while, but he's a perfectly nice man who's genuinely doing his best for her, and they seem to have a good relationship. And lots of people at the school like her. She gets a bunch of friends instantly who all seem to genuinely appreciate her for who she is. It's like, yeah, what? I don't really know what Edward is giving you that you're not getting normally.
Cute boy asked her to prom like a week into school. I don't know if it does get better than that. It's a kid. Like, I feel like this movie has a very strange, like, it does occupy a very strange space in the young adult scape. And it is like the one. And I'm sure there's worse young adult books than this. But by being the big dog, it gets easy to kind of pick it apart and go like, man, that's a weird convention compared to other things, and kind of judge it a little bit more harshly. And yeah, the whole like her going to school and then everybody immediately rejecting her and making fun of her. Like, they've made those movies. It's how it works. Like, even, you know, like the Spider-Man movies, like everyone's, you know, kind of mean to him. Not really, but a little bit. There's some bullies. This girl has no bullies. It's great. She shouldn't have bullies. But that's usually how these movies work. I don't know. That's the least bad part. The bad part is all the creepiness, but that part is also strange.
In my minimal research that I do, in the book there is a bully-esque character, or at least a character who does not like her, that is not in this movie. So there is some of that in the book, at least. They
could use that in this movie because there's no conflict in the beginning of the movie, and yeah. And I guess part of it, too, is it's not necessarily that she is too popular and liked. It's just that, like, she's too popular and liked immediately for no reason. Like, she doesn't have any traits. It's not like she goes to art class and does good art, and then the art girl, like, is friends with her or something, you know, and that's, oh, man, she's making friends pretty quickly. Like, that would be a little unusual for the genre, but, you know, that's how it works. But she just goes into school, and everybody's like, oh, man, you're so cool. You're from Arizona? Amazing.
She's a girl who goes to school. She's protagonist from Tenet. Like, yeah, there's no, like, real, like, big traits there. But, like, I don't know. It's not, like, I understand the complaints about, oh, it's, like, weird that Edward Cullen is an old man who's, like, dishing on this, like, 17-year-old girl. But even so, like, I don't know. He's technically, well, whatever. He's 17. He's just been 17
It's all about mental maturity, right, DJ? You know?
I mean, he has the body of a 17-year-old. So
oh, boy. Like, does he? Yep. No, that is... yeah, that's a normal thing to have your movie be a young 17-year-old who can just be 17 forever.
I don't know, like
good stuff.
It's a vampire love story, so it's like, sure, right? And this one's a lot sillier because the vampires sparkle, which is that's like the most damning part of this movie. It's like, your goddamn vampire sparkle.
That's the part that I had the least trouble with, honestly. I was just like,
it's the most silly for me.
It's weird, but it's a choice, and it's, you know, I don't know.
But I guess, like, my point is, like, there's a lot of things to talk on the movie, but, like, I don't know. I don't think the fact that she is a generic person who goes to high school is, like, I don't know. It just seems pretty benign to the proceedings here, right? It's like, yep, she goes to high school. She's a girl everyone's into. That's how that's going. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's the worst thing in the movie. I just think that was something that I had always heard about this movie, was that the protagonist was written very broadly. She had no traits, yet everyone loved her in a kind of fan fiction-y kind of way. Sure. And seeing it, that's 100% true. Like, it is. Yeah. I'm assuming in the future she has, wants and needs and things she likes and just anything. But in this, it's like she just has nothing. There's nothing about her. It's fascinating. But yeah, I guess it's like how they write these.
Yeah, I really think that's it, Nando. Like, I feel like just like the way these characters are written are to be the most generic. The reader can imprint themselves onto the character and be like, oh my god, I'm just like Bella or just like me. Don't spoil it, Diggins.
DJ, there's a word DJ said that you just tuck it in your back pocket and save it for later if we ever come back to these movies.
Pin that. Yeah, for sure.
But okay, so let's talk about this movie. It's a Twilight.
Yeah. Why? I have no idea. Like, the name is just there. Apparently, it's not mentioned in the books. It's just called Twilight. So that's cool, I guess.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's like night and day.
Sure, but
yeah, I think it's a good title.
Okay.
Better than New Moon. That's an awful title. Two ooh sounds together. That sounds so goofy. Yeah.
Would Full Moon have been better?
Yeah, maybe. I'd say Half Moon. Hey, I don't think I think you pick one word.
Moon.
Like
Twilight Moon.
Yeah, right. Twilight Moonfall. That's something.
Yes.
Oh my god, do you think the werewolves would be so popular or so powerful in a world where the moon is closer to Earth?
Oh my god, you're right.
Wow.
Were the werewolves going crazy during the moonfall? Like, what was happening with them?
Yeah. It's something we can, expand on in Toonfall or whatever.
Can't wait for Toonfall. Yugi boy, it's Toonfall.
Yugi boy, yeah, it's Toonfall. So yeah, this movie has got two main characters. We should probably talk mostly about them because they're most of the movie. First one, Kristen Stewart plays Bella Swan. What do we think about this one? I
think everything we said is super accurate about her. She's a generic high school teenager who the audience can put themselves in their shoes and be like, I am like this person. Isn't this person so much like me? Aren't I so much like them? It is just generic female protagonist. Her dad's cop.
Excuse you, she has a lot of traits that she talks about sometimes. Like that she's very clumsy.
Yes.
Oh, it's so clumsy.
And seems nice.
I guess she's shy. I guess that one kind of comes through, honestly.
A little bit.
She does seem very shy.
She has like the shyness that I would say you would associate with just like, I feel like to Kristen Stewart's credit, I think she does a good job, and she was 18 when this movie came out. It's like she does a good job of acting like an 18-year-old or like a 17-year-old or whatever, where like she's not disaffected. She's not like a disaffected youth where she like hates everything. She's just awkward around everyone, and like just like people are like, hey, what's up, Bella? And she's like, oh, hi, yeah. Like, I don't know. I think she's okay in this. And,
I agree. I don't think she's the issue with any of this.
I think most of the acting is pretty good, honestly. I mean, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, we might be speaking with the benefit of hindsight, where we they are considered good actors.
Yeah.
And so, we are looking for the good performances out of them. But, like I said at the beginning, I don't have a lot of like production complaints with this movie. It's mostly pretty well made. Other than the washed out lighting, which again, like, I guess is a choice that works, but it does make me feel like we're in an AMV the whole time.
Yeah.
I will say, I even think with some of like the acting choices that might be like, oh, like, why did he do that? They're just like unexplained parts of the book. So if you like remember the scene when, like, not when she first meets him, like when they're in the lab class together, and he sees her and he like makes a face like he's gonna puke. He's like, oh, and like covers his mouth. And it's like, what's that about? And apparently it was like the fan blew her scent over to him, and that like was such a strong, he just had a really strong reaction to that. But they never really like explain.
We do see the glamour shot of her behind the fan, her hair blowing in the wind.
Right.
As that scene is happening. So makes
But you don't
sense,
exactly
I
know it's
suppose.
like from the scent, right? They don't like really explain that. Like, hey, remember that time I almost puked? It's because your scent was just like crazy strong.
Yeah,
The fan-
honestly.
Yeah, I
I-
tell that to women all the time.
I kind of assumed it was her brain or something was like giving off brain waves that were
No.
making his head hurt. So yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
make sense.
the fan blew the scent over, so yeah, whatever.
I wasn't thinking in particular about her scent, but I figured it was, the blood. He's like, oh my god, that's such good blood. Oh,
Yeah, the Arizona blood. Never even
Awooga.
seen it.
Like
Okay.
his tongue like folds down out of his mouth onto the table. His eyes become hearts. His
Yeah.
heart is like beating mechanically out of his chest. The whole routine.
Oh yeah. He's got a dish on it, like right now. So yeah, like maybe the acting stuff isn't them, but it's the directors or whatever. But yeah,
I think
I
there's
mean-
a lot of weird choices, but I feel like they play the choices as well as they could. So I kind of just figured it's a script thing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially when it comes to the other one, who is, I'd say, given the heavier lifting in terms of the nonsense lines in this, Robert
True,
Pattinson as Edward
But
Cullen.
also more of a personality.
Yeah, that's true too. And yeah, we know he's a good actor, and we know these lines are bad. So like seeing him do them, you're like, it's about as good as you can do with that. But some of them are pretty bad. It's a
I
weird.
know what you're talking about, Nando. This is the skin of a killer is an incredible line.
I love that. Or it's like a lion fell in love with the lamb. That's a line I liked. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's I think it's interesting looking back at him as this, because it's like he's a handsome guy, like it's like, but this was the first time, at least as far as I knew, this look was like the hot new look, this like
Yeah, it was
big
a very
giant hair.
disorienting time for us teenage boys.
Yeah, it's so weird. And this guy, he started it, so good for him, I guess. He's fine.
Yeah, he is fine.
He's good.
He's
a good one.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very handsome boy in this. Like, everybody loves him so much. He's the hottest old man in the history of old men or whatever.
I think with him, people are allowed to not like him because mostly the other people at the school think he's a weirdo.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it
Yeah,
is.
and go ahead, Nando.
It is funny how I do appreciate something I didn't know going into it was how much the vampires are like a weird little like, I don't know, like cult almost kind of thing.
Yeah, it's super weird because we find this out fairly early when she goes to the school, which I think maybe, I don't know. Do we want to just go on to her whole first day at school?
Whatever.
Because
Yeah, I think it's good.
second one has something I want to bring up, which is she pulls up in a big pickup her dad bought her because she's moving in with her dad because her mom is moving around the country with her minor league baseball new husband.
Love it.
Which like clutch as hell. That, by the way, that is like good for her because minor league baseball players aren't like crazy rich. That is a rough lifestyle. So like that is true love. That's not like a major league baseball player. That's a minor league baseball player. So that is true love right there.
It feels like the most weirdly specific plot point in the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know this for a fact, but I have to assume someone in Stephanie Meyer's life did that, because otherwise,
Right?
where would that come from?
That's a really good point.
Like,
Anyway.
yeah.
Yes, so she's here with her dad, who, again, I assumed would be like a bad dad, or at least well-meaning, but, not very good at it. But he actually seems like a perfectly fine dad. He's doing
He's
the
a
best he
great
can,
dad.
which is pretty good.
I don't know,
Yeah.
great dad. He's never around because he's the chief of police. Like, that's his job. Like, I get it. But, I wouldn't go as far as to say great dad.
I guess he's not, he's not around a lot, but he's not around a lot either. I wouldn't say that feels like as much of a plot point there. It's also hard for me to tell when Bella's around and like kind of what time is taking place.
Sure.
But also he's dealing with some weird murders, so maybe in general.
Some
he's
weird
a better
animal
dad.
murders. Whoa.
Yeah. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. He gets her car. That's nice of him.
Yeah.
That is nice of him.
So he gets her this old pickup truck. And there's like kind of a moment at the beginning where we're pretending that she's going to be ostracized.
Yeah.
And she pulls up in the truck and some people are looking at it like, oh, look at that old truck. But then the very first thing someone says to her is a dude going like, nice truck, which she takes as being like an insult. You can see the look on her face. She's like, oh, this person's being mean to me. But then the way he said it and the way he looks after she walks away, where he's like genuinely confused, I think he just meant it. I think he
so
was
too.
Genuinely complimenting her truck.
It feels like the episode of 30 Rock where Liz goes back to her high school reunion and she's like, I'm going to show everybody who bullied me how cool I am now. And they'll show them because they were so mean to me. And then she gets there and it turns out that she was me. Everybody was nice to her and she was just a real brat. And like that was kind of how she saw it in her eyes. It feels like that with Bella, where like this guy is just trying to be nice and she's like, ugh, these jerks over here. And yeah, I mean, even in that next scene, she gets one of those kind of like, everybody's just, being very nice to her. Her little friend, I don't know what his name was, little newsboy shows up and he's like, I'm your new friend. You're
Eric.
cool. Let's be friends.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna run a whole story in the school newspaper about you joining the student body, which is bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the new kid.
Also, like, how many kids are there in this town?
I mean, it's in a small town in Washington. There could be 4 kids.
It feels like
14 total kids.
They say there is 3,000-ish people in the town at one point. That's the population of Fork. So I'm like, yeah, what is that? Max 100 kids in any class. That feels like way too many, actually. Yeah. So like, yeah, maybe this is just front page news. That's great. Good for her. It's gonna be tough to write that article because she has no wants or needs, but all the rest of it, the exposure is gonna be great for her.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, then she makes 2 more friends immediately. Anna Kendrick is in this movie, like we said a couple of times.
Yes.
Right. Now, to be fair, I guess roughly half of the friends that she makes are just boys who want to get down. They are absolutely horny as hell for this mysterious stranger.
I mean, they are high school children, so.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to defend high school boys on principle.
Defend them.
Yeah,
defend the high school boys, Diggins.
Defend them.
Well, listen, it's a very confusing time. You have a lot of hormones that you don't know what to do with. It's, and everybody's learning. And just because we, as in general, have a society that is built to give us more power, we didn't ask for that. And if we abuse that, be out of teenage ignorance, that's bad. But man, I actually hate what I'm saying right now. Please
I can't believe you defended teenage boys, Diggins.
You're incredible. I love it so much.
I feel like those 2 boys, one sits next to her and I kind of get it if there are like 50 kids in this class and it's just like, oh, thank God, a new fucking person. Yes, hey, I love you. Will you be my girlfriend forever? Because I tried, I've tried to date all the other girls. They said no, and we're out of girls. So, amazing. This is blowing my mind. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got nothing there. I don't know. I got nothing more. That feels right.
There is that scene where like the first guy comes, sits down, and he's like, "Hey, I'm like," and he looks like he's like, I don't know, on the football team or some shit. Like I feel like maybe he has a jacket on, and he seems like if this happened in a movie, it would be like a prank or something. But he's just like, "I love you," and then another boy comes, kisses her, pulls that guy's chair out, and then they run away. I think they all just really like her.
They all just want to fuck the new girl. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe every main, or not main, but is it the case that every teenage male character with a speaking line in this movie asks her to the prom at some point?
That's that one kid, Newsboy.
Newsboy is trying to, and then other boy interrupt. Like he's clearly about to when he gets interrupted.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I guess that's true. They all ask her to the prom, which like I don't know about you guys. I feel like the asking a prom thing. It's a little bit more thought out than that in terms of like, I think she'll say yes, so I'm gonna ask her, as opposed to this like. But again, mad dash to the new person who doesn't, who isn't someone I've known for my whole life. So I do get that then.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where like, I mean, promposals weren't a thing at the time.
That's true.
Maybe in like a small town like this, you really just like you give it your best shot, right?
Yeah.
Like you just give it your all.
But yeah, and then when they're in school and all the boys are in love, she also meets the Cullens. Not like meets, but is introduced to the Cullens by Anna Kendrick, I think.
That's what originally brought us to this point before we decided to just do the whole intro of the school. Yeah. So the Cullens are all they're called the foster children. So they're not thought to be related by the student body. which is good because several of them are openly dating each other. Super weird.
Although it is treated kind of like that.
Yeah, the other kids think it's weird, but also they just like, yeah, that's weird, and not, man, guys, that's really fucked up. You can't do that. But anyway, so there's 5 Cullens, I want to say. Alice, Jasper, Emmett, Rosalie, and Edward.
Yep.
Sounds right.
And so here's my biggest question about this. So the Cullens are, as we will eventually find out, and is clearly the premise of the movie, so not a spoiler really, they're all vampires. They're all at least 100 years old or so.
That is accurate.
Or many, many years old. Have been to high school before. Have a wall of graduation caps from all the times they've graduated high school.
It's very cute. I like what they did with that.
Well, but go on, Diggins. Yeah.
One would assume then that they have no need to go to high school to learn, right?
Yes.
They know all that stuff already. Yep. Therefore, the only reason to go to have these kids who could reasonably pass as young adults, maybe like 18 or 19, and therefore would not be questioned for not going to school, would be to socialize, to make sure that they're not just this weird little cult that only interacts with themselves. Except they pointedly do not interact with anybody at the school. It's said that they only hang out amongst themselves and never talk to anybody. So why do they even go?
I don't know.
Because what else are they gonna do? They get bored.
I guess. I mean, this family lives here, right? This is the part I don't understand. Like, they have a house. Do they move every couple of years?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I don't like the guy is the doctor in town, and people seem to know him, right, Mr.
Carlisle.
Mr. Cullen, Carlisle. Yeah.
Cullen.
He has like a reputation, and I guess they say like, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand. I don't see a world where these vampires work the way they are working here. Like, it just doesn't feel plausible. I
mean, maybe they do the Kingo thing where every once in a while they pretend that the old ones died and they're like, I'm his son who looks exactly the same.
Right. I think they could do that. I mean, I don't know what these vampires like. They're also, and I don't know if this comes up in this movie or if I'm projecting this from my knowledge of other movies. I guess this is kind of true of this movie. Like, very wealthy. They are multimillionaires, including, like, I think Carlisle is, but maybe there's another Cullen higher up the chain that's like a super billionaire, like one of the richest characters in popular culture. So, what'd you say?
Is that a thing?
Yes, I feel like.
Do you remember that from your best billionaire bracket?
Yeah, and I think I know this because so I know some of the. So I know further in the movies you get introduced to what I believe is called the Volturi, which is some sort of ruling like Italian vampire sect thing that kind of does the old school thing. I think there's another Cullen involved, but if there's not, then Peter Facinelli's Cullen has just been like doing 6 stock trades for his whole life and is like a multi-billionaire. So like it would make sense to me if these vampires were poor and they were like, we have to take you to school, you have to live here, this is where we are, and that's just the rules, right? But they're rich. They've no need to do any of this stuff. They don't need to be anywhere specific. I don't get why they're even here. Like, they say it's because of the sun, but like, you don't really go outside that much. Just get a fucking big old stadium and live there. I don't know.
And also, being out in the sun, the only thing it does is make you look weird. So just anytime the sun's out, just don't be in public.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, Nando. And so, like, for me, this is like a huge risk, right? Like, they're in a place where there's a lot of blood and someone could cut themselves and, like, someone could hurt themselves. And there's just a lot of chances for them to get exposed, right? Yeah. So, like, I get the wanting to do something, but I don't know, like, not school. Pick something else. Do what like a Wonder Woman does, and just take up different architecting gigs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
isn't that more interesting? Like, just go. I want to go see India now, and like go mess around there for like 20, 30 years, and then go to somewhere else. And why would you stay here?
I mean, they do have that nice house. This is like the only reason I like really think.
I mean, there's some kind of implication at the end of the baseball scene that maybe vampires in this world have defined territories, and this is their territory. I don't know.
I think that's right. And there's also, I mean, you get a little bit of this in future movies where there's like the feud between the vampires and the werewolves and stuff. And like, it seems like maybe they have to be there for that. I don't know. But
I mean, we get a little bit of that in this movie where if you can, I say read between the lines, but I mean is basically be able to hear what people are saying and understand it even a little.
Yeah, look at that book she was reading that one time. And her history lesson flashback.
I'm going to wait till we get there, but I want to talk about that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I looked it up.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Carlisle, the oldest member of the family, so he is the oldest, has been amassing wealth for an exceptionally long time. According to Forbes, his estimated real-life net worth sat at $34 billion in 2010. So he might be...
He's just living out in this Frank Lloyd Wright house in Forks, Washington?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess. Why does he even have a job? Like, that's the thing. It feels like, there's just so much risk involved in doing anything. And they don't give a shit. I don't get it.
I mean, maybe this is like the Spider-Man thing where it's like, if we get exposed, whatever, not really a big deal. People get exposed all the time for silly nonsense.
Well, right. And I guess there's another world where you kind of watch this movie, and by the end of the first one, it becomes clear that everyone in the town kind of knows something's up, but nobody questions it because they protect them from other stuff. And if you had to ask people, they'd be like, I don't know, maybe they're vampires or something, but that's not clear. And the reason they're in the town is because then they get to have a place where they can just kind of hang out and stuff. But it doesn't appear that that's the deal either.
Yeah, it's like we're not hung up on it.
Yeah, and they're not acting like normal totally people either. They're not blending in. Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, they're not freedom fighters, though, it seems like.
No.
It seems like they want to live their lives and play baseball.
Yeah, they seem mostly baseball guys.
Yeah, that's it. Being a Cullen's supposed to be a baseball person?
Yeah.
That's really what comes into play.
I think it's funny that, well, we'll get to the baseball thing.
But guys, what if at the end of the movie it was like their mom calls and it's like, yeah, Phil just he seemed like he was gonna make it to a major league team finally. Like maybe we could settle down. But there was this one guy, he just hit the ball so hard. He just like there was a thunderclap every time he swung the bat, and it was knocking it like way out of the park. He was so incredible. He just bumped everyone else on the spot. And then you see like in the background Edward in full baseball gear having deliberately set this up so her mom wouldn't settle down and she could move away from Forks.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh, I would love that.
That would be so
also,
funny.
Forks, bad town name.
Horrible.
Real town. Forks,
They gotta
Washington.
change that name.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The town of Forks, Washington.
I don't
Feel really
apologize.
badly
It's
now.
a weird name. I don't like it.
No.
I don't like when things
they,
have real life names.
They run a largely Twilight-based tourism economy now.
Oh, I hate you, Diggins. You're lying to me.
No,
I believe it.
Both of those statements are real. Tourism to Forks went up like 6,000% after the release of Twilight.
Oh, and like that. Wow, I didn't know you could do a Twilight tourism-based industry.
Oh, they do that shit all the time. I'm pretty sure there's a city, the city from Gilmore Girls has people that go there and like visit. Like people will travel to any of these places. And I mean, if I had like a little girl who loved Twilight and this city or boy, yeah, that's true. I mean, I have no interest in having any children. If I had a little cat that liked Twilight for really, really badly and I want to go on vacation, and I was like, I'll take him to this place. If it was a cool place otherwise, then that would be fun. Like, I could turn it into a vacation. I don't know what's going on in this town besides Twilight stuff, but maybe it's a good place.
How far is it outside of Seattle? I'd go as like, if I'm going to Seattle,
Sorry.
maybe I'll take a side trip to Forks.
A 600% increase in tourism. Excuse me. Not quite as crazy as I said.
There's probably like a bunch of Nazis there,
What?
That backwoods area
Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing in like
I didn't know
the areas
that was
outside of, especially like the woods, that space. It's where, you ever seen that movie Green Room?
No.
Yeah, great movie.
That's like where this takes place.
Oh, interesting.
So,
it's a little
yeah.
more. So Forks is actually fairly coastal. It's way out in Puget Sound from Seattle. Green Room is more closer to the Idaho border kind of area.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it on a map. Yeah. So this place probably has a couple Nazis now, but it's not known for them. Although that would be fun.
Nazi-based economy.
Well, that'd be great, actually. Let's make a Twilight sequel where they actually live in the place with the Nazis and just kill them, you know? Like, it would be like, what the fuck was that movie? I forget. There's a movie where people go to a town to, like, do bad shit, and then it turns out everyone's a vampire. Oh, like Desperado. Or not Desperado. We've talked about this. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, where Dusk Till Dawn, where it's just like, what's going on here? And it's like, yeah, they're all vampires. You're fucked. That'd be fun. But, yeah, it probably won't do that. Where are we going with this? It's great. I like this part where they play baseball. That's later, but I did like it.
I will say, I think a difficult part of this movie is, especially in, like, the early bits, there's just nothing going on, right? Like, how do you evaluate this movie besides, like, man, they're just getting into a lot of capers, right? Like, there's just nothing happening.
So, the first hour or so of the movie is pretty much entirely just the developing relationship between Edward and Bella, which is mostly... After that first day, he seems like he hates her. He seems like he's the only person in the entire school who hates her.
Yep.
And she's kind of upset about it because he's hot. Then he comes back after a few days of being out of school, and they, like, talk a little bit, and they kind of get along and kind of not. And she's confused by this, I guess. And then
no one's ever not loved me before. What is this?
Yeah, it's very confusing. He does act very confusing in this movie for reasons that are more or less explained, but it feels very strange to anyone who it would happen to.
Oh yeah, he's a real weirdo in this. Like if I saw, like, in the role her dad is in, right? There's, like, that usual dad in a movie like this who's like, I don't want you seeing no boys. And in this, he's not quite like that. He's just, like, a little protective of his daughter. But if I, as her father, heard about what the fuck this kid was doing, I would be like, we have to move towns or something. I think he's going to kill you. Like,
I would be like, honey, it sounds like you're getting negged, which is a classic technique by pickup artists.
Yeah. And it's like, it's weird because it's 50% negged and then 50% like he's gonna be, he's dangerous in a way that is bad boyfriend. He's all the worst boyfriends rolled into one.
Yeah, the watching you sleep part's really alarming. Like,
that is way too creepy to be casually tossed in like it is.
And, like, the first time you see it, you're like, oh, maybe this is a dream. And it's weird. It'd be weird for it to be a dream. But but then later she's like, do you sneak in to watch me sleep often? He's like, yeah, all the time. It's sweet. Then you're like, okay, well, get away from this guy. Yeah. He's bad news. But even, I'm thinking more, the scene that really turned me off of Edward as, like, that set me from, like, this guy is weird to this guy's, like, bad is the scene where he fights off those attackers and, like, drives on the wrong side of the road. Remember that?
And was only there in the first place because he was stalking her?
Yeah, and then the end where, like, in the car, he's like, oh, I just want to kill him so badly, Bella.
I want to just rip off their fucking heads. Oh, talk to me so I don't go murder those guys.
Yeah, you don't know the bad things they were thinking about you, but I want to kill them for that. Like, that's fucking horrible. I don't know. I think this movie aged pretty poorly, honestly. Like, all that stuff probably wasn't super cool then, but yeah, he just seems awful.
Yeah. But we do, so the first real turn in their relationship, though, going more or less chronologically, is that when he saves her life, right?
Oh, yeah.
God.
So
what happens there?
She's just hanging in the parking lot, as you do when you're a teen, and the guy who kissed her on the cheek earlier, which not okay, by the way. I know we already talked about that, but super not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he is driving to the school for some reason, even though I'm pretty sure it's the afternoon.
That's a good point.
But anyway, and he loses control because it's raining pretty hard. So, he starts hydroplaning and is about to crash into Bella, which would obviously be pretty bad for her physically. Until Edward...
That's an I love that. Yeah. Just in the newspaper the next day, guy crashes into Bella. Not pretty bad for her physically. More to 11. Like, what happened to that girl? It was pretty bad for her.
But Edward, who moments earlier was standing next to his car, just rushes over in seconds and holds out his hand, denting the car and preventing it from crashing into her.
Yep. The fuck is that?
I mean, save the girl you love, right? I mean, there were other options, right? Like pick her up and dodge out of the way.
Run out of the way with her. And she'll be like, how were you so fast? And he'd be like, adrenaline, whatever.
Adrenaline.
Which is his excuse later, but it would be way more believable if all he did was push her out of the way. The fact that he with one hand stopped a car from sliding into her is way more suspicious.
Yeah, super
to her, and I would assume everyone around them. Like, it's not like he does a good job of catching the car and doesn't put a huge hand-sized dent in it. Like, what do people think happened?
I mean, I don't think anyone saw it. Right, was the whole point. Like, only she saw it.
Right, but they saw the car afterwards, I assume.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they thought, I don't know, this is her big old head.
Yeah, like...
I mean, everyone is certainly acting like something actually... Like, nothing actually happens to her in this.
Yeah.
He stops the car before it even gets close. Well, it gets close to her, but more than enough distance that there is no way she would have been injured by it. And everyone's acting like, oh my god, Bella, you must have some kind of head trauma or something because the car hit you. And I'm like, no, it didn't?
Yeah.
It didn't hit her? It's good to check her out to be sure because it was an accident, but I don't know why you assume something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this kind of feeds into my, like, the whole town knows they're vampires but just doesn't want to talk about it kind of thing. Where it's like everybody looks the other way when he does this, but they're like, fuck, we're not supposed to have... So let's pretend that it didn't hit her, or like that it almost hit her and maybe she got a concussion or something. But yeah, it's not what it is. It's just everybody in school saw him run over to her at super speeds. Like, maybe didn't see it, but like saw something make a big old dent in the car and then just like, went, I guess that was something that happened, and then left. No one asked any questions.
I mean, this movie is filled of like characters in the movie who just are not paying attention to the things around them and are just like, oh, well, who knows what happens? That's my impression of every character in this movie.
And Larry David.
And Larry David, yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
I guess it's just annoying for me because it's like, yeah, if they had her catch her, or if they had him like push the car and not make a huge dent, you'd be like, well, I guess that's something they... But it's like the movie goes out of its way to set up a situation where it's like, people should see this vampire thing. This should be obvious to someone in this movie, but they just aren't.
Yeah. And by the way, they go to a school, so, also...
Yeah. I guess it's also just weird because, like, this movie does a lot to reinvent the vampire mythology and, like, how they work and stuff. And if it didn't do that, I'd be a little bit more forgiving. But it almost seemed like, all right, let's make some realistic vampires. Instead of this, they this. Instead of this, they this. But they left all this shit in. It's like, I guess they could technically exist, but yeah, it wouldn't last very long. But
yeah, I mean, it's clear that like the most important part of this movie isn't the like idea of what if vampires at high school. It's like vampire romance and the shortest distance to get there from girl in high school falls in love with vampire, right? Because everything in this movie is like the shortest distance to travel to make all of that happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So
yeah,
I mean, their relationship.
It's really about your Mormon fantasies of the dangerous boy who excites you, but is also very good and chaste.
Yeah, and I feel like as a love story movie, obviously this isn't Shakespeare, but I do think that there's a lot that happens really quickly to get them together. And by the end, I'm like, you guys haven't really done anything though. Like there's very little just talking or anything like that we see. There's a lot of like looking at each other. And I guess that's enough for children. But by the end, when they're actually, even by the end, but by like the middle of the movie when they're actually together, I'm like, you guys really sped through this part too. This seems like this would be the part. that we'd watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be better in a book format where you can, like DJ was saying, hear or read Bella's thoughts, and it's more of a slow burn. But yeah, in this movie, they kind of jump straight from this sort of will they, won't they dynamic straight to you're the love of my life. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a difficult balance because, like, in a lot of, and I mean, for, you know, when you're 15 or whatever, you like think that. But this is even implausible for that in my mind. But hey, you know.
Then again, I mean, listen, even today at 30, if a hot vampire was like, I want to be with you, I'd be like, you know what? I'm set for life. Hot vampire, I'm in.
I feel that.
Would you make the change to turn into a vampire?
100%. Everyone who wouldn't be immortal is an idiot.
So I wouldn't be immortal, but I would be a vampire because they're not immortal. I don't know why vampires say this. They have so many weaknesses. Like, you could live forever, sure, but it's not like the curse. Just die when you want. That's fine. Turn on the light. Like turn on a UV light. Get in a tanning bed. Boom. Curse over. I don't know.
Yeah, except there is no curse. Living forever objectively rules, and everyone should want to do it.
What if you had to live here forever? You had to live in Fork, Washington.
Yeah, Fork, Washington.
You know what? Eventually, there would be enough tectonic shifts and massive cultural changes that Forks would become cool if I just wait.
That's true. Yeah.
It's an incredible working theory.
Would you go to high school? What if you had to go to high school? Every 10 years, you had to go to high school for a year.
Oh, yeah. Because it's super low stakes then. It's like, I know none of it matters. Like,
yeah, that's
way
fair.
more than it didn't matter for me the first time I did it.
Yeah. What if those kids were really dumb by now? They still hadn't figured high school out, and they just kept getting like failed it to the last year, and they were like, I'm not going to go, though. I'm done. This is my year of high school. I don't have to go anymore. Everybody else is just like, okay.
That would be great if they were all terrible students and they actually didn't know anything.
Well, yeah, because you'd assume in a movie like this, they would be homeschooled, and then the kids would interact with them at something else. But they do go to the high school. It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
the risk
weird.
is outstanding. Well, and it gets like weirder, the implications of all this, because, you know, not to go too far ahead, but like once we get into the vampire community, it's like really going to make incredibly little sense why the vampires would have any potential exposure to like the quote outside world. Because their internal politics are fucking bananas.
And they're 17. Like, it's not even like they have jobs. And it's like, I just want to live my life of a normal person. And, like, I think that's interesting. It's like, I want to hang out with 17-year-olds. Like, you could pass for 19, Robert Pattinson, if you wanted to pretend.
They're like Matthew McConaughey. It's like, teenage girls. I keep getting older, and they stay the same age.
It really is. And it's so weird. Like, I think this was something that I latched onto when I heard about it the first time. And, like, back when it came out, was like, it's weird that he's old and she's young. And I think it's much worse now. Because it's so like, not like it's worse now, but I feel like the idea of like, this person is clearly being groomed by this other person is something we've seen so much in media that it's like, that's what's happening here, right? Like, there's no way that's not what this is. It's the most famous one of those in all of popular culture, probably.
I'm reading something here. It seems like in the original draft, Stephanie Meyer had named him Edward Weinstein. Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Not Weinstein, Edward Epstein, right? Yeah, Edward, the Epstein family. And yeah, like, it's so fucked. Yeah. This is my sister, Ghislaine Cullen. Trust her. She's very trustworthy.
She's the one who pointed you out to me in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was bad. What else about this movie is weird? They date. They go on like their little run. That's fun, isn't it?
Oh, God. The CGI running is so bad.
Yeah, I want to say, the one craft thing in this movie. And to be fair to them, I don't think anybody in the 2000s, or even now, some people struggle with it, had figured out how to do vampire powers.
Yeah.
A lot of it looked bad, but the vampire powers in this look really bad.
I think I almost want to give him a little bit of a pass for some of the vampire powers. I want to say the technical thing in this movie that has aged, not even aged poorly, I'm sure it was bad then, is all of the reenactments and all the flashbacks look so bad. You remember when we see the olden times of Werewolf Tribe versus, like, the fuck is that? That looks like worse than drug history. There's little hats.
You say that, Nando, and that part did look really bad. However, my favorite 2 seconds in the movie are when she imagines her and Edward as in a scene in a Bela Lugosi movie.
Yes,
dude. Oh my god. Or how about the birth of Edward? Not birth of Edward, but Edward like in like the hospital,
like becoming a vampire.
Yeah, when he got the Spanish flu, and he's just like they just took the seed and shot it and then made it red.
Spanish influenza.
Spanish influenza, right?
How about that becoming a relevant touch point? Like, never thought this would come back around, eh?
Cullens could have saved a lot of people last couple of years. Yeah. Where were our Cullens?
Speaking of that scene, when he's telling her about how he became a vampire, and we see the flashback to him getting bitten. Apparently, the scripted line that the daddy vampire is whispering into his ear, which was "I'm sorry," was not getting the reaction that they needed from Robert Pattinson. So, and the take they use, what he actually whispered is, "You're sexy."
Oh
no,
that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I like
you
that.
Can't hear
I don't like
movie,
that.
But yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah. It's weird if he's a child, but I think it's still pretty funny. I wonder how old was Robert Pattinson when they made this?
Oh, God. Was he like in his 20s?
Probably. I think she was younger than he was.
Yeah.
So this was
canceled that couple.
2008, right?
Yeah.
He was 22 at the time.
Okay. Still weird, but not a child. So a step up for this movie. But yeah, that is pretty
22
funny.
to 18 is not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Depends when you met, DJ. Depends heavily on when you met.
Listen,
I'm saying someone
I'm not
at
Bill
work
Maher
like
out here. Let's make that very clear. I'm not trying to be Bill Maher. Their only crime was that they were in love.
Their only crime was it was in love and vampire stuff. It was the only two crimes committed here.
And the murder. Don't forget the murder.
And the murder. Oh yeah. Well, okay, so vampires. We also, in the movie, get a bunch of, like, vampire stuff happening outside of this stuff. By now, we've seen it twice or maybe even 3 times of, like, whoa, something's happening. It's probably a vampire. What'd you guys think of those scenes?
It was weird because it comes out of nowhere, kind of. Like, there's no idea. It's like, oh, yeah, there's been some bad animal attack abductions, or even after like Edward Cullen is like, I'm a vampire, there's like no like idea to give it to the fact that, oh yeah, there's like murdering vampires around here, but also like we don't even get the murdering vampires perspective for why they're doing what they're doing. So it's just like, well, things are happening on screen now, enjoy, which okay, I guess that's my take.
Yeah,
Take
I mean,
it or leave it.
I don't know, it's weird. I don't like that they're vampires, but they don't I don't like that they don't drink blood or don't kill people and
They're
stuff.
vegetarians.
So, like, what does that mean?
They only have animals.
But
they only drink animal blood.
So, like, I guess it's weird to me that vampires can do that yet don't. Like,
well, I think so. The way he kind of talks about it is they can do that, but it's very unsatisfying. If he likens it to living off of tofu, and also they have kind of vampire instincts that make it like when they smell human blood, they're like, I want to drink that. So
yeah,
I want to date that. Drink that.
So if you're not actively fighting against that, then just your natural instinct is to drink human blood. And if you have no moral compunctions about doing it, like, why not?
Yeah, that's fair.
So are people who eat meat bad? Is like that what I'm led to believe from this movie?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I guess.
I don't know. I feel like other media I am aware of has done this trope way better, so maybe I'm just letting that color my perspective of this. But I feel that is a very interesting thing when it comes to vampire media, in general, where it's like, to a vampire, the act of drinking someone's blood is just like drinking water or eating a meal for us. It's this very uncontroversial thing they have to do. But in wider society, it's like so taboo, and like kind of trying to square that circle for yourself, where it's like, I know other people are upset about this, so I should be very careful about it, but it's just the thing I do, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, that's cool. Oh, but I was going to say, so we see, first one of those we see from the perspective of the camera, and it's someone eating a deer, and I guess that is Edward?
It's one of them.
Probably.
Or,
yes.
Yeah, one of the main ones. And then the second one, we see some guy in a boat, and then just 3 other vampires who we haven't met yet. And I was like, have we? And then it was like, nope. All show up and kill this guy.
Mm-hmm. Who is some friend of her dad's.
Yeah.
That fact is not relevant or important at any point.
Nope. Just random character death, it's happens.
It happens.
Speaking of friends of her dad's, we haven't really talked about another character that shows up in this movie in a like little, hey, he might be important later kind of role.
Yeah. We should mention this person's
Shark Boy is back, baby.
Shark Boy!
Yeah!
He's got long hair in this one. I don't think he has it in the next ones, right?
He does not, because they had to cut off the hair, and like he fills out so much.
Well,
I thought you were going to say nicely.
No.
They were gonna fire him for not being muscular, so he hit the gym constantly so they wouldn't fire him.
Well, only men with muscles have value, Diggins.
That's true. That's why
clear.
I'm worthless.
Yeah, if you're a wolf, it makes you even more important. It would be weird if a scrawny man turned into a big old jacked wolf. Because these wolves also look kind of weird. I feel like they are like closer to your dire wolf, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
We don't really get any of them in this one.
Oh, no, yeah, I know. I'm just remembering like seeing them in other stuff. Like seeing them in these movies.
All his posters, Diggins. Nando had so many Jacob posters. Team Jacob, am I right, Nando?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm looking at a picture of them now. They just kind of look like regular wolves. They're pretty big. I
have a feeling Nando is going to be Team Jacob
wolf.
Just because he's so anti-Team Edward.
Yeah. I mean, out of this movie, he's definitely the least horrible. Like,
well, Nando, just you wait. Do you know the thing that happens? Like,
I
with
do.
The imprinting?
Yes,
okay,
I know what Jacob's deal is.
Yeah, so just you wait.
Well, that's only the
I'm all
end.
for it.
He seems okay until then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's gotta be tough to navigate these weirdos. Now, does Jacob know about the vampires?
Yes.
It's very heavily implied because there's a point. So. Again, continuing somewhat chronologically, she goes out surfing on the Indian reservation, the Native American reservation, with a bunch of her friends from school. Well, listen, I don't know how to talk a lot of the time. She goes out on a surfing adventure with them, and invites Edward, but Edward doesn't come, and then Jacob and a couple of his buddies show up because they live on the reservation, and they're joking around like, oh yeah, of course the Cullens aren't coming here. They're a bunch of fucking weirdos. Even though it was established earlier that they go to the reservation school. So she's like, why do you know the Cullens? And Jacob is going on about, yeah, there's some like ancient legend about how we found out that they were not vampires.
Yeah.
And that they won't tell people, but they can't come on our reservation. And she's like, you believe that? And he's like, haha, of course it's fake. Haha, don't ask me any more questions. Haha.
Love it.
So pretty obvious that he does know.
Thinly veiled at best.
Mm-hmm. So we got a lot more flirting going on. There's a lot of flirting in this movie, but it's not really flirting. It's just like he turns out to be somewhere.
A creepy goth teen's idea of flirting.
Yeah. And at one point, a bunch of guys try to kill Bella, and then Jacob fights them off. But not really. He just kind of shows up, and then they run away because he's so terrifying.
So, the first in this chain of events that I love, she Googles, because Jacob had mentioned that legends of his people, I think the Quileute, I think it's pronounced.
Sure.
I guess so.
He talks about those legends with the Cullens and whatnot, and so she Googles them and finds out that there's a bookstore nearby. in Port Angeles that sells books about Quileute legends. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go buy that book. Which thankfully her friends want to go to Port Angeles to buy prom dresses, so she comes with them.
Can I add something here, Diggins, that I find hilarious? This was after she goes on the website, right? Or was this before?
Well, she goes to the website to find this out, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, so when she goes on the website, there's like different regions of the world that have this like different kind of mythos stuff, and it's like there's links. It's like Egypt, Asia.
Oh no! This is later.
Yeah,
this is later.
This is later.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry,
My bad.
I just
Sorry.
meant she goes to the website to find the bookstore at one point. But yeah,
yes,
my bad. No,
yeah,
sorry.
your thing's
Sorry.
later.
Yeah. I'm ahead. So sorry, Diggins. Go ahead.
Right. And so she goes to the bookstore, buys the book, completely uneventful. But then walking back from the bookstore to go to the restaurant to meet her friends is when a bunch of dudes decide what they really need to do tonight is rape a teenage girl.
Oh my God! This scene is horrifying.
Classic Twilight. Classic Twilight.
I mean, to be fair, to Twilight here, it's not pretending that, you know, the threat of rape by a bunch of boys is not a horrible thing that shouldn't happen, unlike the things Edward does.
Oh, God.
But yeah, Edward, who has been stalking her, drives around the corner, pell-mell, leaps out and growls at them, and then drives off with Bella.
You're crazy fast, too. Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Right. Well, he has super vampire driving skills, DJ.
Yeah, you've already gotten away from him, Jacob. Or Edward. You don't need to keep driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
But he does, he gets so much, he gets so much vampire rage that he's like, that's why he's really upset, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I just want to eat their fucking heads.
He doesn't sound like
Talk
that,
me
but
down before I do violence. I'm the hero of the movie. The movie's good.
Oh yeah, flawless, perfect movie. We love it so much, right,
Yeah.
boys? Oh my God.
But then they like that. So that's the first like courtship time, and then they get food after that, right?
Oh gosh,
So yeah, he takes her to the restaurant where she was supposed to meet her friends, but apparently, even though he drives incredibly fast, not fast enough to get her there in time.
Yeah.
But her friends are all like, "Ooh, you're going on a date with Edward? No, please go ahead," because they're very actually nice and supportive, and seem to genuinely value her. Yeah,
and it's weird because she's like, "I want to go to do prom dress shopping because that's in the town where the bookstore is." And then she goes to prom dress shopping, and the girls are like, "You're not? Are you not having fun?" She's like, "I really just want to go to a bookstore." And it's like, fucking tell them that. Make that part of the agenda. Don't just mope. Ugh.
Sometimes you gotta mope.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Sometimes you can't help but mope.
But then,
especially if you're a teen.
Yeah, that is like your main method of communication is moping.
But then the waitress in that restaurant, I think, kind of hits on Edward, which is a little weird because he's supposed to be a teen.
She knows he's 100 and whatever, so it's fine.
But then, so they have more conversations about how she's like, "There's something weird about you," and he's like, "I'm not going to tell you anything." And for like the fifth one in the movie, so I'm tired of it. But then she goes home and she reads the book to find out about the legends Jacob was talking about. Except what she does is find a single phrase in the book and then Googles the phrase to find information on websites instead of reading the book she bought for this purpose.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
What do you think the deal was with this? Was it that it's harder to make a book than a website and like to fake one? So they just
that's
went
interesting.
Like opens book, finds page, and then just use the websites, which are easier.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
It feels like it's got to be it. For me, at least.
Like, why else? Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Like, why the heck else would this be the case?
I mean, the other way you could do it is you could just have her look that up. You cut out all this stuff in the middle. Mm-hmm. Have her go online, look up the thing, and instead of finding the book, just find these pages. Like, it's a 2-hour-long movie. You could cut some stuff. Yeah. Although in this situation, he does explain to her that he can read minds. And
yes, except hers.
Except hers, but he reads a couple of minds and he's like, sex, money. And then this one cool guy's like, cats. That's what he's thinking about. I'm like, yeah, that guy's cool. Hope he's in this later. He's not. Don't get excited.
Don't get excited for a cat character who just like doesn't get a shot. Yeah.
Just to like show up later and be like, have a cat, and then you're like, good for him. You know,
he had an arc and he realized it.
Yeah, no cat for him. Very upsetting. But then they go and mess around in the woods. And that's the only part of this movie I do feel like I had seen fully before we actually watched it.
Okay.
Seen bits and pieces of baseball, but
I didn't know that I've seen the whole scene before, but I've definitely heard a lot of the lines from it.
Yeah.
Especially, "This is the skin of a killer."
And "Hold on, Spider Monkey." That I remember very, very vividly for some reason.
That's later when she's at their house. This is in the morning of school. They decide to just ditch and go talk in the woods about how he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Say it.
And
you're a vampire.
Is this where he does a weird little pickup and runs with her on his back at super speed?
I think so.
Yes, because they go to the top of the mountain so he can show her his sparkly skin.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, what'd you guys think of this scene?
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
Loved it.
I get what it's going for. I guess where it's the scene where he's all like trying to convince her how dangerous he is so that she'll stop loving him. Or whatever, but first of all, it has all the problematic elements of relationships that you had talked about at the beginning, Nando, where it's like, it can be read as kind of an abusive tactic where, you know, if he's saying up front, like, "Oh, I'll do all these terrible things to you," then it creates this space in her mind where she's like, "Well, when he does them, he did warn me, so I can't blame him about it," which sucks. But then also, I don't understand why he thinks if I show her that my skin sparkles in sunlight, that will convince her I'm an evil monster.
Right?
Well, it seems like she was on the trail already, so...
But, like,
right?
He opens up his shirt also and shows that his, like, ripped body and his face are, like, sparkly. And it's like, what about that do you think is the turnoff here, Edward, for the 17-year-old girl? You think she's against sparkles? You know, it's not like he turns into fucking, you know, Dracula or something. He looks even better in that situation. It's weird. It's real weird.
Also, Dracula's hot. So.
That's true. Not all Draculas, but most Draculas are pretty hot.
No, Draculas are sexy. Nosferatus are not.
That's a good distinction.
Yeah,
he's got glistening. What did you think of the sparkling?
It's the dumbest thing.
It is definitely, yeah. Like, I know this is such a common point of being made fun of, so I almost don't even want to make fun of it because everybody did, and I feel like a hack. But it is the most, like, nonsensical addition. It doesn't make sense as a point of mythology that the vampires sparkle in the sun instead of being harmed by it in any way. And also, it doesn't make sense as the way it is put into the show, into the story, where it's supposed to be part of his dramatic reveal of trying to convince her that he's dangerous. Because in no way does it have anything to do with the reasons why he's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also, like, yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, here I have a skin condition thing that you wouldn't commonly associate with vampires, but it's a vampire thing. Like, just show her your teeth or something. Those are vampire things.
They barely have vampire teeth, though, is the other part.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the... All right, like, oh, you're so cold. That was actually another thing that, I don't know, was interesting. So she touches his hand at one point, and she's like, oh my god, you're so cold. And Michelle had said, in the book, they really drill home the fact that he feels like a corpse. Like, not like, oh, you've been spending too much time in the, I don't know, whatever. It's like, oh, your hands feel dead. Again, I don't know if that would have helped at all, but, you know, there's a lot of evidence, Bella. There's like a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
We're dealing with here.
And also, like, I mean, yeah, the sparkling is weird. I don't hate it. I kind of wish it, like, hurt him or something. Because then I'd be
there
like...
needs to be a drawback, yeah.
Or just like, oh, it's...
did anything. It had any point at all.
Yeah. Because then, like, what is it?
It matters
it's not
in the next book, kind of.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. We'll get there, but it's, I don't know, it matters insofar as you must accept the premise that if a person were to see another person sparkle in the sun, they would know that person's a vampire. That's how you have to enter the conversation, as it were.
Gotcha.
But if you
Also,
don't buy that, then I don't know.
Has nobody touched him before? Nobody touches these kids? I guess how
That's
often do
another
you touch
one.
another person? Like if you shake their hand?
Yeah, that's another good point.
Well, they could pretend that they're like Orthodox Jewish and they don't shake hands with people of the opposite sex.
That's fair.
I guess.
Yeah. This is where my favorite line in the movie happens, by the way. When he's telling her that he's kind of explaining to her that she is so special because of her whatever. Alpha brainwave or something. That he's like, she
lacks the delta brainwave.
Yeah. But he says, "You are my own personal brand of heroin." Heroin doesn't have brands. Heroin's just heroin.
Well, listen, Nando, that it sounds like the words of someone who's never tried a street drug or two in his time. You know,
that's true.
A lot of people, a lot of dealers like to specifically brand their product to differentiate it in the market.
That's a good point. And this one's the one that he likes the best.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd do well with heroin? Can a vampire have heroin?
Well, presumably, because there's not actually blood flowing in their veins. Right. It wouldn't work, right?
Or would it become, because they have veins, I would assume. They're just not empty, so the heroin just overtake their system. Their body would go to 100% heroin level.
I love that. It's at 100% heroin.
Yeah, what happens if they do cocaine or something? I guess that gets in your bloodstream too. Yeah, I don't know. What's in there?
I don't know. I guess we're going to have to cut up a vampire and find out.
Yeah. But yeah, the heroin line was weird. We probably don't have that many children listening. I hope not. If anybody ever tells you that, run. It's a bad thing to say. Unless they are your heroin dealer, maybe? Then maybe it's a nice compliment. Dealers. Yeah, but don't do that either, I guess.
I can understand why a teenager would think that's a romantic thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
And that's fair.
I don't think they're right, but I get why a teenager would hear that and be like, aw.
He loves me.
And then she becomes, all in, and it happened. She is just, part of the vampire group now. Mm-hmm. And they accept her way too quickly.
Except for Rosalie, who's really pissed about it.
Yo,
rightly
Rosalie,
so. Yeah.
She knows what's up.
Has this never happened before with him, or does this happen every couple of years with Edward?
Well, I think we are led to believe in the Twilight canon that this is the first time. However, You're totally right, Nando. There's no way he isn't the 12th girl he's brought home.
Right? Yeah. Everybody in the family is like, yep, this is gonna. Yep. She dates it for a few years, and then all that stuff, vampire war, and then we're kind of back to square one. So might as well just stop fighting it. And because I kind of assumed going into this that Carlisle Cullen was the bad guy, or going to do a bad thing or an evil thing, and maybe he does later. But in this, he's just yeah, I don't know. Come on over, Bella. We're vampires.
It's part of the whole thing where all the traditional sources of conflict I was expecting. I thought her life would be kind of bad. Her dad would not be a great dad. I thought that stuff would be happening. And then you'd think maybe his family's not approving and they don't want her in their lives or whatever. But no, they're actually very nice about it. There's no friction in this relationship, which is good if you're in real life. It's good if your families are accepting and it's not actually a big deal or a problem. But for a story, it feels very boring.
Well, Diggins, we have a few more movies to go.
It's true. The vampire president might have a problem with it. You have to go pretty far up the chain for this to become an issue anybody deals with.
I will say I do love this. So when she first goes over to the vampire house and they're all making food for her and only her because they don't eat. But then Edward mentions that she's already eaten and Rosalie gets so mad she smashes a Pyrex bowl with her hands.
Love that.
I actually laughed. It was funny.
That was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, but that's why it was funny.
I do like that as a Because she did that with her vampire super strength, or do you think she just did that with regular strength?
I have to imagine it's vampire super strength, because I don't imagine glass bowls are easy to shatter between your hands.
Right? I guess I've never tried it, but I assume you're right. I like it when movies do that, like where it's like, what would happen if a bunch of his characters were vampires? Like, how would their, day-to-day life be slightly different from ours? I think that kind of imagination is funny. The whatchamacallit,
not a lot
baseball,
of that in this movie.
No, yeah, not very much at all. The baseball almost gets there, but not quite.
The baseball more or less is doing it. It's just that they don't do much beyond the surface level thought.
Yeah. The baseball, it's like, they're all extra good at baseball, but it's like, it's the small things. Like, I don't know what it would have to be, but I'm trying to think of something like that. I don't know. Movie's good. So then they go play baseball. That's pretty quick, right? Like, that might be next.
It might be the next important thing that happens.
Yeah. Might as well be next. So the baseball thing is interesting because this is the other thing that I think made it pop culture, like, got it into the pop culture zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. Had you guys seen or heard of this before we watched it today? Or whenever you guys saw it?
Well, like vampire baseball?
Yeah, that they play baseball and it's kind of dorky.
Yeah,
I already knew about that.
Okay. Yeah.
I did love it, though.
I did, too. I like that they have uniforms. Like, it's an event.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them.
I was
they
actually
give
annoyed
Bella a
when,
hat or something.
Yeah. I was annoyed when the plot interrupted it. I was like, no, go back to the baseball.
Yeah. It'd be fun. I don't know if they play the werewolves at any point in baseball, but that would be fun,
I hope so.
Seeing their different skill sets.
I hope every movie has a baseball scene.
Or maybe a different scene of a different sport. Like, so every movie we get to see them, like, play basketball in the next one, or football, golf, maybe. I don't know. What would be a fun
like
one?
the Air Bud franchise. Every movie, a new sport. There's nothing in the rule book that says a vampire can't play football.
Yeah, I mean, vampire volleyball would be pretty weird, because, like, they could all jump really high, so it's like, what are they even doing? I don't know. I'd like to see this.
But typically, agreed. I mean, if it's beach volleyball, then it's got to be out in the sun, so that's a problem.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Damn
it.
But that's next evolution. We have to flesh out the Twilight universe of, like sports, right?
Yeah. It's like Quidditch in the fucking Harry Potter movies, where you give me this in the middle of the movie and then just take it away. And it's like, fuck you, movie. This is cool. This is fun. And they're all into it. They're having a blast. The premise is dumb that they do it in, like, the lightning storms or whatever, but that's fun too, kind of. I don't know. I liked it.
Oh, wait, we do.
Silly.
We've already skipped over this in the plot, but I just want to bring it up quick. So, as mentioned before, all her male friends ask her to prom at some point. And I will say, the only moment of being a good friend Bella has in the entire movie is each time she's like, but instead you should ask out this other friend of ours who I know is into you. And you know what? Good looking out, girl. I'm proud of you for that one.
That's true.
So she's at least not the worst friend.
She's not the worst friend she could be.
And she's also always got that in her back pocket, Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he went to prom with you, but he really wanted to go with me. So you can always kind of lord that over the girl. So that's always fun.
Boost.
Other good friend thing when the girls are like, oh my god, he asked me to prom. I thought he would ask you. She's not like, yeah, he did, but I turned him down. She's just like, oh my god, I'm so happy for you. So you know what? Pretty good, Bella. Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Now, speaking of things that are pretty good, let's talk about the bad guys in this.
Wait, hold on.
Bad
I just
guys.
I remembered between baseball, between her meeting the family and baseball is a scene I desperately wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
What do we got?
God, I want to get there.
You can get there, I believe in you.
I've got the movie pulled up, so I'm skipping to it. Oh, it's the creepy one where we learn that he is watching her every night while she sleeps.
Oh, yeah.
Because that happens before baseball. Because baseball's when everything pops off. Right.
Yeah.
So, A, that's creepy that he says that. But also, so in this scene, they're just talking for a little bit, and then they start furiously making out. It is eventually revealed while they are making out, and not at any point before this, that she is not wearing pants. And I need to ask you guys a question. Eventually, he freaks out and like jumps off the bed and is like, oh, I almost drank your blood. Oh, I can't resist you. Blah, blah, blah. right?
Yep.
Does he do that because she touched his weenus? Because I was looking at the scene and like her hands are kind of oddly placed, like right after he jumps out, in such a way that looks like she might have been going in for that weenus.
What's even going on down there without the blood, now that I think about it?
Oh,
That's a great question, Nando.
Is that a bad situation, you know?
Maybe that's why
Also,
he jumped back. He didn't want her to find out that he can't do that.
Yeah.
Are you being deliberate when you use the term weenus? Like, do you mean the back part of the like elbow?
No,
Like,
I am talking about the pubis.
I'm still not sure.
I am asking you if Bella Swan is trying to grab that Edward Cullen dick.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I kind of think she is. Her hands are very far down. And, like, when she jumps, because I have it going too. When he jumps off her hands are, like, in her own, like, by her crotch where his was. So, yeah, I think maybe.
Now, do we think that was that Kristen Stewart getting freaky? Is that like what we're suggesting? Like something untoward? That'd be a scandal if I ever heard one.
What I am suggesting is that Bella Swan wants to fuck.
I mean, she's a, possibly a sexually active teenager. It's not the,
Right,
most
but-
ridiculous thing in the world.
But the thing is, DJ, these movies are all about being a pure, chaste young woman, or a young man at least. Or the fantasy is that he is such a chaste young man that he has these bestial instincts to like overpower her, but he is constantly resisting them at all times, you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Right,
about
right.
it's about that excitement of like knowing that this guy wants to have you, but the safety of knowing that he would never, do something.
Right.
Which is
Great point.
interesting in that context that we include that she is down to fucking clown, that she wants that peebus.
Man.
I didn't get there myself, but you make a compelling argument, Diggins. I will say that.
Speaking of vampires,
wait,
yeah?
Sorry, I don't know if it's like a nitpick or just something I noticed, but when Bella's doing her internet research, really figuring shit out, I think that at some point she's like going into different like parts of the world where there is vampire lore or something like that.
She does
and
do that, yes.
There's like different links of like different parts of the world where like you could go and like it was like Egypt and Asia and India, and then one of the links was the Pacific Northwest because one of those things is just like the other.
Everyone knows about the many legends. Well, I mean, I will say the tribes of the Pacific Northwest of indigenous Americans are one of the ones we have some more knowledge about because of the geographic location. They were, one of the last to have their land taken over and driven out. So we just have better records of that stuff. So,
Yeah.
Right. But like the link should have been like United States of America and then, sublink Pacific Northwest. Right? Like, does that make more sense?
it is very funny that she has the very specific region she lives in is just happens to be one of these country links.
Yeah. I mean, there's vampires there, so it's a good link,
Yeah, maybe that website is run by like a werewolf or something who's trying to let people know.
Yeah.
Oh, the truth is out there.
I think that's it. But I also do want to point out about vampires, they have superpowers, some of them. Individual
Yeah, all of them.
superpowers.
They all have their own little quirk.
So what's Edward's?
He can read minds. Woo-wee-doo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
think he's
Not
also
everyone can do that.
faster than the rest of them. I feel like someone says that at one point.
So
Maybe?
it gets said at the end, the villain is like, you got here first because you're faster. But that doesn't seem to be his special vampire power. It's just, some people are faster than others. He just is faster.
That's true. What are some of the other powers?
Oh, it's crazy. So by the time we get to the last movie, it's like the X-Men.
Yeah.
Alice can shield people.
No, she can. Alice can tell the future.
Sorry, Alice can tell the future.
I think we only hear Alice's in this one, don't we?
Yes, in this one, yes, that is right.
That's the only one that really matters. in this.
Oh, it's definitely the only one that comes up,
Well, no, that's
in a
not true because we do
material
have
sense?
another. What's up?
I don't.
It's hers and Edwards are the only ones that come up like in the plot.
Well, another
maybe
vampire has a superpower that comes up.
Oh, I meant of the Cullens. Yes, there is, because the main villain is a super tracker who can do the same thing other vampires do in smelling blood and whatnot, but is very good at it.
Yeah, and
Which
I want to
seems like
say
a ripoff. Any power that's just you could do a thing every vampire can do, but really good, is a ripoff, if you ask me.
absolutely, and especially when we see him do it, it's like that's not very good. Like even when the characters see, like when the guys show up and they're like, will they be able to smell her? And that she's not a vampire, they're like, yeah, everybody can smell her. It's very obvious. So, like, this tracker seems to maybe be more interested in that, but I don't think he ever does tracking that's all that great, and I'm not into it.
Yeah,
but yeah, they do become the X-Men. It's pretty good. What about?
Yeah, can't wait till we're covering that.
Oh, and also one more thing before the baseball scene: Edward introduces himself to Bella's dad, and the movie sets up for it to be a comedy scene where her dad is cleaning guns before she comes up to him and it's like, hey, I want you to meet Edward. But then he just puts the gun away and meets Edward all normally. And, like, why did we even have that then if he wasn't going to comically threaten Edward with a gun?
Yeah, I don't know,
that would
but
have been hilarious.
there was a good line, like the way that the gun thing goes, it's like, he's cleaning the gun, it's like, Edward's here, and then I think Dad's like, okay, and then the Bella's like, he wants to meet you, and then he closes the gun and says, bring him in, or something like that. No, cool. Way to go.
But again,
yes, they
another
played
scene
baseball.
where her dad's clearly not happy about this, but he's doing his best to be supportive, and is, willing to meet Edward and be nice to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, baseball.
So they play baseball.
The only thing
Yeah,
anyone really cares
baseball.
about.
Vampire baseball.
I mean, there's not really much to it. They just play baseball. The
They
bat
actually
should break,
only-
right?
What?
They're hitting the the bat should break.
Well,
It
so yeah,
should.
they can only play in thunderstorms. So what's funny is it's not like they all decide to just play baseball as a recreational activity. It's like, oh my god, thunderstorm, we can play baseball.
Yeah.
It's like they have it's so serendipitous how they can just only play baseball during thunderstorms and shit. So
Because they
that's,
hit
like,
the ball
interesting.
so hard that it sounds like a thunder crack, which...
Yep.
So if they play during a thunderstorm, then nobody gets suspicious.
Which, not for nothing, if it's gray out and you're playing far off in the woods and you're playing baseball, no one's gonna be like, what? I don't know, man. You're just random thunder. You're not like, oh, vampires.
Also,
right?
I assume people hunt in these woods, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, they're out in the woods, right? So people just be like, oh yeah, someone's firing guns. It happens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, anything that could be potentially revealed to make you out to be a vampire, everyone thinks you're a vampire in this universe. Apparently, that's just how it works.
I will say it was
right.
really funny when Edward first saves Bella's life, and she goes up to him and is immediately like, "Why do you have superpowers?" Not even a thank you,
Yeah, right.
I mean, I guess
true.
good for her for being right, but you think it'd be like, "Hey, I'm really grateful for you for saving my life, but how did you do that?" There's so many nicer ways to bring it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't fucking crushed, but
Yeah. So
Let's talk
then,
about your X-Men power.
they play baseball, and then that's it. Then they do that, and it is interrupted by 3 other vampires from a different movie, pretty much. They're from a Blade kind of movie. They're pretty
Yeah,
good.
they have a different vampire vibe for sure.
Totally. Yeah. They look like they're from some music video or some shit.
Well, first of all, 2 of them not wearing shirts,
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, if
They're
you're a vampire,
just-
why bother?
just wearing jackets.
Again,
Yeah, I mean, I guess, it's not like your clothes are keeping you warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
These guys...
It's really a decency thing if you think about it.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all super ripped, so whatever.
Do you think
show it off
being a
if you want to.
vampire makes you ripped, or do they exercise?
I mean, they don't eat, right? So how do they burn calories at all? Or what does that even amount to?
But they
where
do-
did they get their energy? Subsisting off of blood?
Blood is blood.
Maybe it's really healthy.
Maybe. But I mean, they do have super regenerative abilities, right? So that would aid in the tearing and healing of muscle to make it stronger.
That's true. Yeah, so I mean, maybe they work out, and then, if they work out a little bit, they just get super ripped, and it's they're all at least pretty ripped. I don't know. Do we meet any schlubby vampires later on, DJ?
I do not believe so, no.
Damn.
I think every vampire is super fit, because if they weren't fit, they wouldn't have value.
That's fair.
Just like
A schlubby
humans.
vampire would be worthless.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no non-fit people in this movie generally, I would say. Even
Yeah.
the regular people that aren't vampires all still in pretty good shape.
Well, there's the one person in a wheelchair who is still probably quite in shape from the, waist up, but,
Well, I mean, his muscles, his chest muscles and stuff, and his brain muscles must be double as strong.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
strongest
I completely forgot about that.
He's very
also,
good.
Another important thing to note about these evil vampires that show up, they're all degenerate sickos who don't wear shoes.
Yeah, that's true. Through the woods. Like, not even on a street. Like, this is disgusting. Just disgusting.
I hate it.
I won't have it. But it's still pretty good, because the baseball is the best part. But yeah, these guys stink. They're bad. Well, actually, one of them's nice. And he's like, I didn't know you guys were doing vampire baseball here. It's against the rules for us to be here. Sorry. And I'm like, he's lying, but he's not. He's just genuinely sorry.
Yeah, they're actually super reasonable at first. They're just like, oh, these are your hunting? Oh, sorry, yeah, we didn't realize that. Sorry, yeah, our bad. We led the authorities away from our hunting, so they're not gonna, get suspicious about you, and we're gonna go. We're heading out. Your lands. Totally apologize. Don't worry about it.
Also, like, what are the odds that they would just run into some other vampires in the middle of the woods?
Well, maybe
Slim.
Maybe because they have super vampire hearing, they can tell the difference between thunderclaps and vampire hitting a ball.
But then wouldn't they be like, oh, I guess there's other vampires here. Probably shouldn't mess around because we're new in town.
Hey,
maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe,
but anyway,
again, they do seem to genuinely be like, oh, there are other vampires here? Whoops, our bad. Like, they don't want to encroach on another vampire's territory.
Yeah.
I guess because that would be rude or whatever.
It would be rude. Mm-hmm. And what they do after this is rude, too. One of them tries to eat Bella because she's so great. And is not a vampire.
Yeah, then the wind blows in such a way that the super tracker vampire, James, realizes that she's a human, and now is like, oh man, she's a human? Now I'm horny for murder. I want to kill her so bad that no logic or reason will deter me.
That isn't unreasonable, though. They're vampires. They want to drink your blood! Right? It's like, that's not crazy.
But Edward is like, now that he has smelled your blood, he wants to kill you specifically more than anything in the entire world. This hunt has excited him like he's never been excited in his entire life. And it's like, really? Why?
Yes.
And also, if they seem to be so respectful of vampire traditions or whatever, why can't the cults just be like, hey man, she's just like our vampire servant, You know how sometimes people take familiars? Yeah, this is our familiar. Like, just be cool.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a human familiar.
Somebody doesn't watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Or just, like, read vampire fiction generally.
That's true.
That's, like, a thing, right? They usually have a person to, like, deal with the castle during the day.
Wow, I'm, like, getting slammed here. My bad.
Like,
I'm just saying,
Even Dracula had Renfield.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Jeez.
But yeah,
My bad, guys.
So the vampires, where were we going with this? Oh yeah, so the tracker vampire, he's like, I'm the tracker vampire and I can track you really well. What does that mean?
I smell far. I don't know, if I see footprints, I'll be like, oh, I gotcha.
It seems to be that he's got a really good sense of smell and he has good tracking skills like a human might have.
Does he use them at all?
I mean, I guess
how else would he find Bella?
Yeah, I guess that's how he found out she was in Phoenix. She
was
yelling about going back to Phoenix in a scene we know he was watching, so probably he just heard her say that.
Yeah, it feels like most of the stuff he did you could do with, like, the internet or something like that. Because it's not like he, like, sets a trap for her in a huntery way. He kidnaps her mom. Or, is that what he does?
He pretends to kidnap her mom.
Pretends to kidnap her mom, yeah. And then just goes, come here so I can eat you. Come alone. That's not a trap. That's a murder.
It's not an especially good one.
Yeah. So that's weird to me.
It is weird.
But it's cool, I guess. I don't know.
What's even weirder is the way Edward and Bella decide they need to react to this problem.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. I don't like it.
It's very bad. So Edward is like, he's going to hunt you down. Well, we got to get you somewhere safe. You need to leave right now. And I'm like, all right, I'm with you here. That makes sense. And so the thing they come up with, which is, here's how we're going to get you away, is she needs to have a huge argument with her dad where she screams the location where she is going, which is not a lie. It turns out she is going to Phoenix, and like potentially permanently damage her relationship with her pretty okay dad.
Yeah.
Just so that she has an excuse to leave when she could just say, hey, Dad, Edward and I are going to go out to eat. I'll be back later. And then, like, not come back and, like, call him later and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. There was a tree down or whatever. I don't know. You can do lies that are not based on almost destroying your relationship is what I'm saying.
And, like, Bella says, like, I got to get away because if I don't, my dad will be in danger, right? Like, that's her whole reason for trying to sort this plot out, but like he's still in danger. If the eventual goal or the eventual like plan of the guy is like kidnap or like pretend to kidnap another person, he'd easily kidnap the dad. Nothing's stopping him from doing that.
In fact, he is hanging out outside the dad's house at one point.
Yeah, I kind of assumed the dad would have to come with them in this plan or something, and then he doesn't. I'm like, why? He's gonna get eaten or something. I guess not really.
Maybe the idea was, if I have this big fight with my dad, he'll think I don't care about my dad, and so he won't mess with him. But he's a vampire? Why would he care if your relationship with your dad is good or not? He's still going to assume, well, that's a loved one, so probably she cares at least a little. She probably cares enough to not want him dead.
Right?
So I can use this.
Yeah, that whole thing, I don't know. So the end of this movie is a big mess. I feel like, I don't know. It's weird that this guy just kind of comes out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, that's
because they needed, like, a compelling conflict, I think. So not that this was it, but that's what they were going for.
Right, yeah, there's some hints about it earlier on where, like, we talked about the guy who gets murdered in his fishing boat and some security guard who dies, and her dad is the sheriff, so he's investigating it. So we hear about, like, these murders. But yeah, the characters are not important to the rest of the hour and 15 that precedes their first appearance. So it just becomes, it's basically like this is two movies. It's the Edward and Bella fall in love movie, and then it's the Bella is threatened by other vampires movie. And there's very little connection between those two movies.
Yeah, that's true.
And it seems like the easy way to do that would just be have the vampires that threaten her also be part of the family. And as Bella gets closer to the family, that tension develops into this bigger conflict. But yeah, it's just like the family is so good, we actually found some other vampires that are bad now, and they're the bad guys.
Because the problem is that the family has to get along with her for the future movies to work. See, the problem with this is like there's more story and stuff, so they need to keep a lot intact. So all of the tension has to come from like third parties.
But why can't Weird Uncle, what was his name?
Jebediah.
Why can't Weird Uncle Jebediah? Why does there have to be like someone from another? I don't know. It's fine. It's all good. Movie's good.
Yeah, or at least someone more tied into the beginning of the movie instead of just these three dudes who are hanging out for an hour and 15 minutes and then show up and be like, we're the villains now.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is nice that the one of them, the one that's Darwin, I think, from the X-Men movies, from that one movie that he's in. But, I mean, he's in other stuff, but that's what I know him from. He comes in and he's like, hey, just want to give you a heads up. My guy is a bad guy. So, it's probably going to be bad guy stuff. Yep. Hands up. I'll walk away. Try not to kill me, but, do what you got to do. That's nice.
I know I'm supposed to be unkillable with all my superpowers, but it would actually be very easy to kill me as a demonstration of how powerful you are. So please, don't do that. I would like to live through this film franchise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like vampires are all that hard to kill.
I must have making a first class reference.
Yeah, he's doing the Darwin thing.
Oh, damn it. That's right. I forgot.
He is in other stuff. He's in, by the way, he's in The Harder They Fall, that movie.
What's his name?
So I'm guessing Edie Gathegi. EDI and then Gathegi. I've never actually heard it spoken, but yeah, it's from Kenya, so if that helps. Anybody guess how that's pronounced? But
any of our listeners who that would be helpful for.
I know there's like Edie Amin, that's a name, right? So that's how you say Edie, but the end part I'm not sure about. Anyway, he's in this and he's got big giant dreadlocks. It's pretty funny. I don't know. I do think it's funny how these vampires all look exactly the same, and then these other vampires also look like they're from Blade. It would just be fun to me if every time they met a new vampire family, they dressed like the vampires from another movie. Like Interview with the Vampire and Nosferatu and I don't know what other ones there are. But yeah.
Well, don't worry, Nando, because we made sure that the big enemy vampire who gets the most screen time is the least visually interesting.
Yeah, that's true. He kind of looks like, what's his name? Remember in the third or one of the Harry Potter movies, there's like an evil werewolf guy? Kind of looks like that. I guess
good. Wait, do you mean the evil vampire?
No.
So the evil werewolf or the good werewolf?
Evil werewolf.
Right, yeah. I forget his name, but I know who you mean.
Yeah, I don't remember. He's got the same energy as this guy. Anyway, so then they fight this guy. They fight
James.
James.
Yeah, a cool fight scene. Well, first he just beats up Bella for a bit. Classic, just beats someone up.
I do like when she takes the pepper spray and sprays it in his eyes,
right?
And he's just like completely unaffected and like gets a face like, come on, man.
Like, what are you doing?
What was that about?
Right?
I thought we were having a good time here.
I was excited for that to be part of it, but it wasn't. I was just like, no, that doesn't work.
Right. Oh, and Alice had a vision of the ballet studio,
right?
And how that would be important to the conflict, and also because her future powers can also tell the present, knows that he has not taken the bait of their fake leads and is on her real trail, and then because of this, leaves her alone and doesn't go to the ballet studio that she recognizes.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, but that's why Bella is by herself when she gets the call from James to go to the ballet studio, which she both doesn't demand proof that he has her mom, doesn't check with her mom to see if maybe she would answer her phone or something.
Yeah, just give her a phone call or something.
Yeah, doesn't tell anybody that she got this phone call and that she's going to go do the thing. Just all around. Like, if Alice didn't have that vision and presumably told Edward and the rest of them, then, like, she just would have died.
Well, she has terrible judgment, so, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's that, and also, like, if she had given it any amount of thought, this guy's not really good. This isn't going to work for him. His whole plan relies on Bella being incredibly gullible, but she is, so there you go.
It all works out, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of his vampire tracker abilities. Like, he's about to do a plan, and he's like, just instantly knows if the person is gullible enough to fall for it or not.
Yeah. That works.
It's like an intuition or something.
Yeah. Like a spidey sense for stupidity.
It's a way more useful sense than tracking. Imagine if you knew who was a rube. Oh my god. This guy could be a bazillionaire.
Man.
I would sell so many NFTs.
I was going to say, he could make so much money in crypto.
Exactly. So, way to go. It's perfect. I did want to say, well, I guess, so at the ending, we do get the one kind of half-conflict thing that the movie knows is kind of what should happen here, but doesn't really matter that much. But what happens at the end?
Edward's brothers take James and throw him on a funeral pyre and watch him burn alive.
Oh my god, that was
I thought
awesome.
you were talking about something else.
No, I do love that
something
though.
Else. I just wanted to bring that up because it's metal as fuck.
And I do remember one part of that where it seems like they were having a lot of fun. I don't remember what the shot was, but I was like, this is like fun for them. They would do this every day if they could. And you know what? Maybe I would too. I don't know. Who am I to say I'm better than these fine vampire friends?
Yeah, who are you to say that?
I'm no one. I mean, I'm better than Edward in terms of like stalking.
Well, yeah, of course. But are you better than Emmett and Jasper? I don't think so.
No, definitely not. I could not eat if told not to. That's my one kind of up on them. But maybe I couldn't. Maybe I think I can eat, like not eat, but I would have fallen into the same trap as that actor when he sees that delicious food.
Could be.
Love that bit.
Temptations are too great.
But yeah, what's the other thing?
James gets like one good bite on Bella at her arm, and it just seems like any single bite from a vampire is like good enough to get you turned. So she is turning, and like Carlisle and Edward are like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" And Carlisle's like, "You gotta turn her, or suck out the venom."
What Edward, when he's telling the story of how he got turned, implies that the difficulty in turning someone is not the mechanism, which is just biting someone once will do it, like you're a werewolf or something, but that once you have bitten someone, it is extremely difficult to stop yourself from draining their blood.
Yeah.
Yep. Which...
Wait. Yeah. Why isn't the bad guy a werewolf?
We're not there yet, Nando. You're jumping ahead way
I know, but I
too
feel like
much,
that makes
way
more
too
sense,
much.
you know? It's like if he was a werewolf biting her. Because it's usually werewolves. Vampires, you get bit on the neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vampires
then werewolves,
are
you
like
get bit wherever.
Usually, to turn someone into a vampire is like a whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess that's true.
Or at the very least, it actually is the opposite. You do have to drink from them until they die, and that's what turns them into a vampire.
That makes sense.
Also true.
But yeah, so then Edward does it. He's a nice boy, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, he's able to not drink all of her blood because love or whatever.
Right, he sucks out the venom like it was a snake bite or something.
Yeah. Hooray.
While not putting more venom in. You know, it's real logical stuff here.
Yeah.
I do think when it comes down to it, like Diggins had a good point earlier, is that we're dealing with just like a young adult, you know, novel here, and you know, how much can we truly expect, right? We will only get but so much.
I expect it to be slightly better than this. Here's what I expect. I expect if you're going to do vampires, have some reasons for the weird things you're doing. That I'm not as big of a, I don't want to nitpick as much. But I do expect if you're writing a teen romance, to not write the worst teen romance of all time. Like a teen romance that is criminal in every way. But they did that.
Teen romance of all time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the worst. I would say, yeah, it's the worst teen romance in a major
really
motion
regarded that
picture.
way?
No, but I mean, it should be, considering all of the things we said, of how terrible he is and how he's 100 and something years old. It's just insane. So that is my biggest problem with this movie.
I do understand how that is a huge sticking point. Don't get me wrong. You know, not here trying to defend it. Trust me.
No, DJ, you think it's cool. You think it's good that he's way older than her, you know?
You got me.
He gets to show her the world and stuff. I mean, not really. It just gets to hang around in this fucking place forever. But that's
nice
good
house.
for him.
It's a nice house.
It is a nice house. We'll have fun there.
Yeah.
And then the movie's over pretty much, right? Well, hold on. They do prom. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
In her $20 dress.
That's crazy that's what that was.
I mean,
it
yeah.
looks like a $20 dress, so I mean, I'm not shocked.
Like, why wouldn't a major movie budget studio be like, we'll go for, you know, more than that?
Well, and you just
Surely
figure...
we can afford it.
Yeah, and prom dresses, I feel like, I don't know, they all look kind of like that. I feel like you could tell me one's $100 million and one's $20, and I'd be like, you could convince me either way, as we did.
That one looks $20, though, is the problem.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the last thing that happens in this movie?
Yes.
What is that? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, Ella and Bedward. Wow.
Ella and Bedward.
Love
Oh,
it.
Diggins, you watched the movie backwards. No.
Oh, no. Bella and Edward go outside at prom to dance in the slow dance gazebo that all proms have. And they have a conversation about how she wants him to turn her into a vampire, and he's like, no, it is a curse. I can't do that to you. And she's like,
The first movie.
being a vampire sounds fucking sick as hell, so I wish that you would, but we could drop it for now. I'm only 17. I've got time. And then we zoom out to some building that overlooks the dance gazebo.
Yep.
Where Victoria, the third member of the evil vampire crew, is watching them and turns around sinisterly. And that's how the movie ends, with her walking down some stairs.
I assume she's the bad guy of the next one.
Yes.
So that's good.
In fact, even future ones. I think we get her for more than just one movie.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, she might be like a Thanos type, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, well,
Oh my
I did
gosh.
see that character, and I was like, I bet this is one of the main villains of the franchise. This character who does nothing in this movie.
Well, I do think that I think there was a line, right, where the one guy, the Darwin, was like, also watch out for, what was her name? I already forgot.
Victoria.
Watch out for Victoria. She's dangerous or something. So then it's like, watch out in future movies then. That's
yeah, you'd think that sets up she's gonna do something that helps James in this movie and like stops them from, introduces a complication that they weren't expecting or whatever. But no, it just means that she'll be a villain in another movie.
Yep. They had it before Marvel, This was 2008. This was Iron Man was like, we can use this to make bazillions of dollars. This probably came out after Iron Man, actually. Yeah. Have to imagine this was a December kind of thing.
What if instead of the MCU, we'd gotten the TCU, and they were just still making Twilight movies about all different characters?
Oh.
Honestly, like, there's nothing inherently about Twilight in this universe that I don't like. It's because it is just the X-Men. And it's vampires with superpowers that live among us. And as a concept for a movie, that is something I could get behind. If it were good, I'd be cool with that. They're not good, though.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. I also want to mention the thing before they go into the prom. So this is before the slow dance gazebo. Jacob shows up out of nowhere and is like, my dad paid me $20 to tell you to break up with your boyfriend. Okay, bye.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you tell me that first part? That's so weird.
A, that's weird.
It makes more sense that you would care versus my dad. For your dad.
Because I'm not a moron who can read between lines even a little bit. I understand that your dad is a big werewolf man who doesn't like vampires and is like, Bella shouldn't date a vampire. But if that's what he wants, this is the single worst way to go about that.
Yeah, that's true. But at least Jacob got that $20.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna make sure.
And
he gets
hey,
that cash.
another instance of Bella being a good friend. She says like, I would tell him that he better pay up.
Yeah.
And she
so
doesn't hold the weird thing Jacob's dad wanted to tell her against him.
Although maybe she should, because it is like weird as hell.
Well, to be fair, he puts it as like, I don't really care what you do. My dad really wanted me to tell you this for some reason.
Exactly.
So he wasn't being like, you should break up with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was being cool. I like him.
Maybe those are his real feelings, but he's just using his dad as a shield.
Oh, yeah, and Bella mimes to Anna Kendrick that her boobs are rocking in that dress.
That's true. Well, that was a point earlier. That wasn't
It
is a callback. However, it's a thing that happens, and I want to call attention to it.
That was funny. Yeah, this movie's okay. I don't know. It's bad in morality, I guess, or like in that way. But just as far as a movie, it's
bad
fine.
in morality.
It's a bad story, but as movies go, it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I agree. I expected this to be much worse.
Look at that. There is hope for you guys.
Because we think the Twilight movie's not as bad as we thought it would be?
Yes.
Well, maybe Michelle will like us more now, since you hated the movie and were telling her how bad it was, even though it's her favorite.
Lies and slander.
DJ, is this what you did to romance Michelle? You stood outside her over her bed slowly, just
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No.
Told her you watch her every night while she sleeps, and then when she tried to touch your penis, you freaked out.
I do remember that, actually, in the vows. You are my special kind of heroine, or whatever he said. That's a classic line that all normal people say.
Yeah, it's true.
So, Robert Pattinson, it's crazy that he's Batman now, also. Just, wild that he went from this to that.
What a
I
career.
kept thinking that I'm like, Michelle, this is Batman now. He's fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Well, he's
probably
a
going to be awesome
in this movie, so when you think about it...
It makes perfect sense, and he's rich in this movie, too.
Yeah.
Might as well be Batman.
Yeah, they might as well have called him Batman in this movie.
Yeah.
He is a Batman.
And his biological parents are probably dead, considering he's over 100 years old.
Also true.
Yeah. And he, pretty white. Batman, I guess that's more of a Robert Pattinson thing. What else does
British,
he do?
Maybe? British?
He stalks
a lot of
the
our Batman have
knights,
been British.
beating up people who seem like they're about to do some crimes.
Yeah, he jumps
Only
around.
specific Bella-related crimes, but still.
That's true. All around, great guy.
Yeah.
So you guys, are we ever going to do another one of these?
We should. I want to complete the set.
I think now that we've started them, we should finish. Oh, so this was a Valentine's Day special, kinda? I don't think we ever said that.
Yeah, technically, we all knew it was, and it was.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Even though it's several
Don't treat
days
your
after
significant other
Valentine's
like
Day by the
this.
time you're listening to this.
Yeah. Happy
And even the
Valentine's
day we're recording
Day.
this.
You can't do worse than what Edward, like it just
You
it
can't
doesn't
do
get much
worse than Edward.
Yeah.
You could probably do worse than Bella because she's very attractive, but she's also got no personality, so, don't settle for someone just because they're attractive. Look for that real connection.
Yeah. But now that we got that out of the way, we have Uncharted's to do and then a Batman, so I don't know if we'll have time. Or
Well,
it might be a
at some
while
point down the road,
till
right?
We won't have time to do
Yeah.
it immediately, but yeah, we'll be doing it eventually, I'm sure. The other 4 movies in this franchise.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But until then, or before then, do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
I would love to get to our classic segment.
wish that
It's so
DJ,
classic.
you've had hours and hours and hours. Do you have something to
my
recommend
God.
to the fine people?
All right, so I discussed this with the gentleman before, but unfortunately my recommendation is stolen from last week. Womp womp.
Well, it wouldn't be the
like-
first time.
Okay, well, so I do have another thing to mention, but it's not a hard recommendation. So I was Murderville. I watched Murderville. It's so good. It's
Who
so
is your
funny.
favorite?
I really liked the Kumail Nanjiani episode.
Is that the high school one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one was funny.
I do agree that the Marshawn Lynch is probably the core of what the pitch is for this episode. But I just found the Kumail, a lot of the bits that he did really funny. So yeah, that was my favorite episode. So yeah, Nando explained it. It's like an improv show. Yeah, I also like trying to solve the murders too, even though I think they're kind of easy. But it's a fun little thing to play along with the guest host. So I do think there's a lot of fun to be had there. So yeah, watch Murderville on Netflix. Man, and I think it's really really good. But not to belabor the point too much, I have another thing to mention. Okay, so I watched Marry Me, which is the new rom-com.
You did? Without me?
Yeah. I know. I
feel so betrayed right now.
So it's Owen Wilson, Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez plays, I think her name is Kat Vasquez, I think. And she is a pop star north of 35 in the movie, which I was that's amazing. Who's in this movie, guys?
Who?
John Bradley.
Oh, no.
No, I knew that. He's in the trailer.
What a week for him.
Incredible week for John Bradley. He plays J-Lo's manager, and he's fine. It's just I saw him and I'm what? Okay, it's not good in how a movie's good, but it's not so bad it's funny, but it's a cute little rom-com. So if you want to watch a cute little rom-com with your significant other, then it's the barrier to entry is low because it's on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, watch Marry Me. It's worth the time. It's Owen Wilson's great. He's my favorite part of the movie. Just him kind of going around. So the character he plays is this little dopey math teacher who winds up in an impossible situation where he's engaged to this mega pop star. But he also plays the guy who's oh, I think Facebook's actually hurting society, and we don't talk to each other anymore. We just kind of text. And
I was gonna say that second part is weird, but that first part is just so he's a rational human being?
Yeah, he had a good start, and then it kind of went downhill.
But it's I don't know, it's just kind of funny, how he does it, and kind of endearing. I don't know, again, if you like watching rom-coms with your significant other and you have Peacock, give Marry Me a shot. I can't recommend it much beyond that, though, if I'm being super honest. So, I just thought I'd throw it out there. I'm glad John Bradley's getting a lot of work. Good for him. Seriously. That's I was happy to see him in the movie. So, but yeah, that's all I got for recommendations. Murderville's great, and maybe give Marry Me a shot. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Thanks, Larry David. And we will all disregard your recommendation because that is what we have learned from Larry David over the last week.
True.
I don't think that's an incredibly incorrect assessment. So
But Diggins, you got anything to recommend?
I do, Nando. I saw a movie this weekend that I was very excited about, and it mostly lived up to that excitement. It's a movie about me, for you see, it's called The Worst Person in the World.
Oh, nice. You liked it?
Yeah, no, I did. I really liked it. It's a Norwegian movie about, it's kind of about this woman who is like just turning 30 and she's kind of feeling a little adrift in her life and in her relationships. And so it's just kind of about, in like describing it, it sounds like this very generic movie where it's about this woman trying to find her way and how that intersects with her relationships, specifically her romantic relationships in her life, and her own ambitions and what she wants. But it's just the specific way it goes about it is like so sharp and charming and honestly surprisingly funny for a lot of it. And just very specific. It finds these very specific things that it hones in on that feel so real that like really elevate it beyond the kind of generic sounding premise. My tweet summation after I saw it was that I had never felt so simultaneously so thoroughly charmed and viciously attacked. Because it does feel very relatable in that way. And then as it goes on, it takes on a surprising amount of emotional heft, shall we say? That I think it's a term that works very well.
Nice.
And just overall, yeah, it's a really, really good one of those. So you should, if you like that kind of thing at all, you should definitely watch The Worst Person in the World. It is now in theaters, wide release, so you can, well, as wide a release as this kind of movie gets. So you can see it if you live in a city, probably, or if there's a good, like, indie theater near you. But I'm sure it'll be on streaming at some point.
Nice.
So what about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I watched a couple things this week and like things that I want to mention. I'm also not, I mean, I have one thing I'm going to recommend, but before that, I do want to say I watched this weird ass movie on Netflix the other day that's French called Big Bug. I was like, this isn't not my kind of thing. And it's like this really weird, like futurist kind of what if the house was evil kind of because of robots. But it's really weird. I wouldn't super recommend it. But at one point they're talking about someone who like can't see anymore because like they had a robot eye, but then it stopped working and the company doesn't exist anymore. And then that happened in real life. I read an article today about an eye company that like made special eyes for people, and then the company went bust. Now those people are like, what am I going to do? So I guess maybe it's really prescient and interesting. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend the movie though. I do want to recommend, so I started watching this last week. I don't think I recommended it on the podcast. Maybe, did I? Maybe? Have we talked about Pam and Tommy yet?
You did, yes. What?
Damn it.
Or did you mention that to me?
I don't think on the podcast, no.
Okay.
I can't, you definitely mentioned it to me, so maybe that was just
Maybe.
not a podcast thing yet.
So I'm going to recommend it now, and then if it's the same exact recommendation, then I nailed it. Like, it's... I like this movie a lot, or show a lot. Could have been a movie. It's like, it's long. I think there's some shows where I'm like, good that this is a show. And this one I'm like 50-50 on. If it were a movie, I'd also be pretty happy with it. But overall, I think it is very interesting. And I like how it doesn't paint anyone as the quite villain. Obviously, like, Tommy Lee is bad in it, and like because he's a jerk, and then Seth Rogen is bad for leaking the tape. But I don't know, it's got an interesting bit of nuance, and Pamela Anderson is like the victim in general. Wait. But I don't know.
Does Seth Rogen play the character, or was that Seth Rogen in real life who did that?
No, it's funny. Seth Rogen's character gave it to Seth Rogen in real life, and they both looked at each other and is like, use this in real life, Seth Rogen, and they both did ha 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 in their voice.
Just like in that trailer.
Just like in that trailer, yeah. And then they joined multiverse of Seth Rogen's, like Pumbaa and that one from the other movie. It's really good. But yeah, Pam and Tommy, it's an interesting story. It's by the people that don't know about it. It's about the first celebrity sex tape, but like kind of how it happened. And I think we as people grew up around like our age. We didn't really like experience this, but we experienced Kim Kardashian's sex tape as like a pop culture phenomenon, and that felt much more produced and like purposefully given out. And like it kind of it's interesting because this is the precursor to that, but also this is not that same kind of thing. This is like a actual 100% they stole this from them and it messed up their whole lives kind of story. So that part of it's interesting. And yeah, it's by the I, Tonya person. So if you like the I, Tonya, you'll probably like this. I did watch a movie this weekend, but I don't remember what it was. But it's something that I think Diggins has already recommended, so I'm not even. What was it? Oh, I watched Nightmare Alley. Did we? We haven't talked about that. Diggins, you.
Oh no,
wrecked
we
it,
have
I think,
not.
right?
No. I haven't seen it, so I definitely haven't.
Oh, I assumed you had. It's Del Toro. It's on HBO now. That's why I watched it.
I meant to watch it. I just never got around to it.
It's good. It's not what you'd expect from the trailers, or just like generally kind of remembering the iconography from the trailers, or like what it seems like it might be. But maybe I just only watched the trailer once and took one image from it, and yeah, that's on it. So I would say go in blind. It's got a little bit of gore in it, more than you would like it. It's not a lot all the time, but it shows up in waves, and you're like, whoa, that is a lot. But yeah, I mean, Bradley Cooper's great in it. And everybody else is good in it. Nice little cameos all over the place. And then the main, I guess, other one is Cate Blanchett, who was also fun. So yeah, I would recommend that. But also, be ready to see some stuff happen. That's all I got. Next week, are we charted next week, or are we uncharted? We're charted. Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, okay. So yeah, what movie are we going to do then? If we're charted, we can't do.
Is there a movie called Charted? We might be able to do that.
I'm sure there's a movie called
like,
Charted somewhere.
Right? It would be like about like a musician or something, like who charted on the pop charts. Excuse me. Nope, none that I can see. So we might have to do Uncharted.
Called Charted. Wow.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to make a movie called Charted and release it before next week so that we can then review it on the podcast.
Okay, so I'm going to say we have two options here. Either it's about a musician who is trying to chart, or chewing and farting together. I don't know how that's a movie, but like that can be what charting is, and then we kind of go from there.
I think the movie Grown Ups 2 beat us to that premise already.
Damn it. I knew they would get us one of these days.
Bastards. Well, Uncharted it is, I guess.
I guess, if we have to.
Yeah,
fine.
Is it out yet? Or it's out this weekend, I guess?
Thursday,
yeah, it's out this weekend.
Anybody seen any reviews? We got anything to look forward to? I looked on Rotten Tomatoes.
I got a Rotten Tomatoes score.
No, never mind. Let's watch
the
Dog.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Dog is also coming out this weekend and doesn't have any reviews out at all, which is, if anything, even worse.
Classic
wow, that's
move.
amazing.
Well, because it means that they're being like super strict on the embargoes of when reviews can release, which means they know it's terrible and they just want to trick people for as long as possible.
Yeah. So that's exciting. Good stuff. Anything to recommend?
Oh my
DJ?
God. Hold on. First, this Rotten Tomatoes summary could not be more wrong about the Uncharted movie.
Is it about a man who charted? That would be wrong.
No. The first two words are already as wrong as possible a description of this movie.
Okay, what do we got?
Promisingly cast.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's like promising in the terms of like, I promise I won't tell anyone about that kid you hit with your car. As long as you let me be Sully in Uncharted, but I won't grow a mustache until the very, very end, maybe.
Oh, my sweet Jesus.
Or maybe, yeah. I don't know. Sounds good. Sounds like a great movie. It's got a promising cast. Already I'm on board. But yeah, DJ, anything to recommend to the fine people?
Well, I guess marry me again.
Excuse me. Plug. Jesus.
Plug. Yeah, no. Roses of Rejections. Check that out as always. Coming toward hometowns in the Bachelor season. So, yeah, just check that out as always.
Cool. Diggins?
Yeah, just my usuals. You can find me. I have my newsletter, A Little Perspective, at substack.substack.com. I stream at twitch.tv/This Is an Odd Name. I believe this weekend we're gonna go back and finish Resident Evil Village, so watch out for that.
Ooh, exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I have a video coming out maybe tomorrow as of recording this, so like probably the 17th, about Boba Fett and why I didn't like it, and some of the things I think were not good. We didn't really talk about that, but we all finished it this week, and it's not very good.
We all kind of briefly touched on it being a bad show, I think. Or was that off mic?
It's off mic, but I feel like it has come up throughout the last couple of weeks. We've taken a couple shots at it, but you just started watching it, right? Like, you hadn't seen it at all up until this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I am done with it, but yeah, I had not seen any when last we three spoke.
Oh my goodness, your pure unspoiled heart has been spoiled by whatever the fuck. I don't know. It's great. It's a great show. But anyway, yeah, video about that, so look out for that. Until next week, I have been at Nando Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo!
Bye. We love you.